Hey, greetings, everyone. You know, I had to get fancy, smancy for y'all. Got my eyebrows did, got them popping, put my lip gloss on. Let me see. I want to look cake. I just put it on. Got my nails done, got them did. Yeah, looking fabulous in this piece. Put on my little top. Well, y'all have to see my pants. I got brown in my pants. That's why I got the earrings on. Anyway, so today is definitely a great day. Today, and as you know, I'm hanging with Sister Angel. We hanging, and so we're gonna be discussing Brother Malcolm, the movie Malcolm X. And back in the day when it first came out, they called it what? Malcolm X. Well, they called it X. Actually, it was X. It was just an X. When you went to the theater, it just had X on it. So now, at this point in time, they call it Brother Malcolm X. So anyway, look, we're going to discuss the movie. Now, you all do know that the movie is somewhat based off the book that Alex Haley wrote. And also, I do want to do a promotion. You know what? I didn't grab the other book. It's called Seven Child. And that is also a great book that was written by one of Brother Malcolm's nephews. Ella's son, actually Malcolm X's older sister. Ella which is the one that he lived with when he went to Boston. And she was kind of well off. She had a little pocket change, you know, she had a little some she owned property. And his nephew, who was a great tennis player, and he also got into computers later on. Anyway, so he wrote a book called The Seventh Child because actually Malcolm was the seventh child. And the thing is, Malcolm did have a younger sibling after Earl was murdered. And it was by a man, you know, who she was kind of kicking it with right after Earl was murdered, and she had a child by him, and so they really don't discuss that as much. However, yeah. So anyway, I would like to. That book is on one of my shelves. I want to go and get it. Will you mind if I go get it for just 1 second? Hold on. And Sister Angel will be coming on here shortly. Give me a second. I gotta get that book. I gotta get it. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. Now, I was trying to find my autobiography of Malcolm X. I cannot find it. It's on one of my shelves. However, I did find the very book I was talking about. So here's a couple of books that I think it'll be really good for you all to read. I have a whole library. Okay, this is the book I was telling you about that was written by Ella Little Collins, and her nephew was Collins. His name is Mr. Collins. So definitely this is a great book. This is a must have in your book. He's the nephew of Brother Malcolm, and this is a really good read. So one day we're gonna probably get to talking about this book.
That would be nice.
Okay. Here's another book. That I've also read. Okay. This is also a book that I read as well. I have my collection.
Oh.
All right. And here's another one. I have a lot. I have a whole library, y'all.
Beautiful,
so,
beautiful.
This is also a book. And I got this. You see, I paid $5.99 for this one. So it's always good to have the physical books. I love to collect books. I read them. I don't just collect them, but I read them. And with my husband, you can tell the difference when I have the book versus when my husband has the books, because they will look raggedy. Okay. Right. So this is not Malcolm X's book, but this is also, he also met with Brother Malcolm in New York. Okay. He was a Cuban. Well, technically, he fought for Cuban rights. So he was a Cuban revolutionary, Che Guevara, but he was not a Cuban necessarily, okay? He was also a Taurus, so him and Malcolm kind of had the same battle, and he was murdered. So let me show you how they did him. Give me a second. I'm a history buff. I can break down some stuff to tell y'all.
We are good. We just relax and share.
Okay, so Fidel, he fought with Fidel Castro. Okay, so he was the reason why Fidel. He was one of the folks that was that helped Cuba, that helped Fidel become the president. Okay, but he didn't stay, because if he had to stay with Fidel, he would have probably obviously lived longer, but he did not. Okay, and also Redbeard. And we also should do a movie review on him too, because they have movies about him too. I study him too, and this is an awesome book. They have pictures also of him, but I'm trying to find a picture on how they did him. Okay, this is how they did him. Okay, the U.S. government, the government basically sent people in, but to murder him. But of course, it was the government's hands. It was the government's energy, but it was other hands that definitely played a part. Yes, he was a great strategist. Yes, ma'am. Fundi Feet. Yes, ma'am. Master Fundi Feet. Taurus is definitely ruled, because we know Malcolm was a Taurus. We know not Fidel. Che Guevara was a Taurus as well. So yeah, I can tell you. Oh, I should have showed y'all the closer up. Can y'all see that?
Oh yeah. That's got some nice photos.
Yeah, but you can tell when my husband get a hold to a book, because I like to keep my books neat. I know you're a Taurus. I am too.
Hey,
I like to keep my books really neat. My husband, on the other hand, don't give a damn. Okay. I wish I could find my other book.
I'm the same way. I like my books nice and clean.
Yeah, not him. He don't give a damn.
How you doing, my sister? We just relax. Good to see.
Yes, ma'am. So the movie is supposedly based off. So let's kind of talk about some things before we really get into the movie. Okay. Now the thing is that, so the book was written by Alex Haley through Malcolm X's words, and so at the time when the book was written, Brother Malcolm was in the Nation of Islam at the time. Okay, so this book. Now I'm telling y'all, if y'all read this book will give y'all a lot more information about Brother Malcolm, because this was written by his nephew, and he could break down some dynamics. And a lot of people in different organizations will be very pissed about this book. However, I still tell y'all, and Malcolm was a 7th child. Now, think about who else was a 7th child, but y'all ain't heard that from me. Think about that, okay? So at the time the book had started off when he was in the Nation of Islam at the time, and so from there, by the time the book was never really finished by Malcolm, because he was assassinated before the book was even finished. Now, if y'all watch the documentary, it's a documentary that's on Netflix. I can't recall the name of it, but a brother from New Jersey. Was it Jersey? I think it's Jersey, Newark, Jersey, whatever. He wrote a book. I mean, he did a documentary on who assassinated Malcolm. So it's nationally known, but a lot of energies will argue about that fact. And I have history with some stuff. I can break some other stuff down, but I'm not going to get into the politics on that because I just got to be real. You know, a lot of friends of mine.
Luther King. You know what I'm saying? It's always more to the story.
Right. A lot of friends of mine will be very pissed off with me. But they know and I know what it is if I say some things publicly. But if you look at that documentary, he basically breaks it down. Now, people, it's a well-known fact who murdered Malcolm X.
Hey, Randall, hit that link and come on over to Dr. Amira channel. I'm streaming it from my channel because I'm trying to get people to come on over to whichever channel. Me and Dr. Amira will be reviewing some movies and sharing some information. So I just want people to kind of, you know, have both of our channels. So when we go live, they could just come in. So yeah, Night Random, good to see you, my brother. Come on over to Dr. Amira channel if you like. That would be great. I just hit that link. I put it in the chat. My brother, come on. But let me just open up with this. Malcolm X, the legendary African-American leader, he was born as Malcolm Little. His father was a Baptist minister, and his father was killed by the Ku Klux Klan. Malcolm became a gangster, and while in jail, discovered the Nation of Islam writings of Elijah Muhammad. He preaches the teachings when let out of jail, but later on goes on as a pilgrimage to the city of Mecca. There he converts to the original Islamic religion and becomes a Sunni Muslim and changes his name to El-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz. I hope I said that right. He is assassinated on February 21st, 1965, and dies a Muslim. So when we're talking about Malcolm X, we're talking about somebody who I would say is awoke. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning, he's just like any other, you know, person trying to straighten their hair, trying to look like the white man, right? Running the streets, smoking, partying, and, you know, gets caught up, goes to jail, and learns to find out more about himself, who he is, right? When we watch the movie Malcolm X, there's so much in that movie. Dr. Mary, can you hear me? Yeah.
Well, so the thing about the movie, and I definitely want everybody to understand, that the movie, just like The Irishman, is not solely true.
Exactly.
So just make sure that you all understand that not even all of the book, because alleged that Alex Haley basically got to the point, because remember when the book was published, Malcolm was trying to hurry up and do the book really fast because he knew his days were numbered. Okay. So he was trying to hurry up and get the book written. So therefore, Alex Haley may have put some things in there that, especially toward the end, if you all really read toward the end, basically put his own spin on some things.
Right.
You understand what I mean? Especially when he said that a lot of people didn't know where Malcolm was going. Yes, people did. Malcolm made it clear what he was trying to do. He had a clear message that anybody could gravitate. He wanted to bring a case against the UN against slavery, against, you know, Black people's rights and things like that, and things that we were going through at the time that we're still going through, as a matter of fact.
Right.
So he wanted to bring a case against them. Okay, so that was not necessarily talked about in the book. Alex Haley made it seem like Malcolm was basically out of his mind, and he wasn't. He wasn't out of his mind. He was a very intelligent, shiny prince. That's what Ozzie Davis stated in the movie when he actually did his obituary. He actually did his eulogy. He did eulogy. And he spoke those exact words, if that was not the eulogy that he did for them at the time. So definitely keep in mind that a lot of things. So so in review, I wanted to do this movie because it would be a challenge for me because of the fact that I know the history, and then the fact that, again, reading this book and knowing other elders who knew Malcolm that I personally that have been a part of my life that told me things. So I knew Brother Malcolm through them, not him personally, obviously, because I was born in 73, but
Right.
I can certainly relate to a lot of the struggle within Malcolm. Yes, ma'am.
I said, and it's amazing because you, even hearing some of your background, you know, when you got involved in doing some things around the same lines of Malcolm X was doing, you got to meet some of the elders, people that knew him, that you got some information. So it's good that you can share some, whatever you can, because sometimes you got to be very careful, you know, even today, what you share. Because, you know, people are just, look at the Kennedys. They're still dying off of what happened, you know, back from the 60s.
Even ahead of that, because old Joe was a bootlegger. Even before that, they call it a Kennedy curse because Kennedys did some dirt, but whatever. You heard that from me. I didn't want to talk. Which is connected to our story in which we're talking about to begin with. And actually one of his daughters is a professor here in Louisville, Kentucky. So also, and my husband did security for her. So
Wow.
I'm telling you, I could tell y'all some things. But anyway, so let me get to the movie. So that's what the challenge is. The challenge is for me not to me, this is solely based off the movie. But I'm still I'm going to try not to do certain corrections in between time, but it's so difficult at times because I'm like, that is bull.
The thing I want to ask you, and to kind of get your feel about it. And what are you drinking, by the way? That looks delicious.
This is chai tea, guys.
Oh, I love chai
with coconut milk.
Oh, nice.
You know, you half and half. Okay?
Yeah.
I have my own coffee spot in his house.
You know me, Angel always got her coffee. I love my coffee, but you know, but when you're trying to lose weight, the green teas, the chai teas are really good. A little bit more healthier to help you kind of get them pounds down. Yeah, I got to get me some of that. Have you tried chai coffee? It's really good.
No.
It's delicious.
I have to try it. I'll work on that. I'll get with it. Don't even trip. But what were you gonna ask me?
All right. I've always wanted to ask people this: the slave name, right? Because we know when people come
that's why I
into
changed my name. Mm-hmm.
You know, my father also was a Muslim. I'm not a Muslim. He was a Muslim. My father was Andrew Domingue. He changed his name to Man Shabazz. A lot of people get into.
I know that name. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
talk.
First thing I want to do is get away from the slave name. Mm-hmm. Now I have two names being married, Angel Domingue Jackson, right? So, you know, people, my question is, how do you guys feel? Even in the chat, you guys, if I'm not talking to you guys too much, I'm over here at Dr. Amira's channel. I'm just streaming so you guys can know we're over here, but you know, feel free, whatever. But I did put her link if you guys want to come and get into the discussion. But
whatever link y'all want to feel comfortable on, I'm straight like that, and I just want to get the message out. I don't really care, you know. I'm a little YouTuber anyway, so that I'm not even a YouTuber. I'm barely here, okay. So it doesn't really matter.
I'm a tube in the YouTuber. Okay?
I'm a tube. I'm a E in the YouTube.
We the tube, but well, first of all, me and Dr. Amira are not racist people. We love all different nationalities, cultures, religion. We don't judge anybody. So we know I have people in my family that are Christians, Catholics, Muslims, and you know, and in their crafts. Okay. So I don't care. I'm very open. I want to know how people feel about this so-called slave name. You know, having the name off the plantation master. Do you feel so important to change your name?
Absolutely.
Energy change. Okay.
I changed my name. I legally changed my name. Okay, so originally when I was adopted, my biological mom and her sister came up with the name, right?
Right.
I didn't know how to pronounce it when I saw it finally in December of 2019. Okay. I had to ask her how to pronounce it. Okay. Secondly, my parents who raised me gave me a name. And I did not like that name because it did not fit me. And once, because I've been studying history since I was very young, since I was really young. And I had a Brother Malcolm X coloring book. Okay. And so I always told my mother I wanted to be like him when I was little. She's like, you don't want to be like him. He gone, baby. You know, I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I want to be like him because I had like the little coloring book where where they had him behind the podium. I'm telling you, they had a coloring book and they had him behind the podium and they had him on the ground where he passed away and I was coloring it. You know what I mean? And so I learned about him. So I was very fascinated about him. And then once I found out that he was a Taurus, I really got into him.
Oh, nice.
So yes, I think it's absolutely necessary for you to change your name. And I tell my children all the time, you have my blessings. If you want to change your name, please feel free to. Please feel free to. Because my grandson name is Malik. Okay. My grandson is technically named after him.
Wow.
Truth be told. But they didn't do the whole exact name. His name is Malik Divine. He has like a 5%er name, right? I was like, okay. So from that, also on top of that, my grandchildren have peculiar names. One of my other grandchild name is Kamira. You know, that is a name of meaning. So I definitely insist in a lot of cases that people try to find a spiritual name that is connected to them. That whether it's Swahili, whether it's Spanish, whatever your heritage is. Or if you're from if you're red blood, then find you a red-blooded name. Call yourself White Walk or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Whatever your nationality, where your roots come from. If you're from Nigeria, then find you a Nigerian name. You know what I mean? I always tell our people to definitely change their names. It makes more sense for you to be spiritually linked to your history. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you feel when you change your name, did it make a difference for you?
It absolutely did. Okay. Well, people like my family, some of my family, my father's side, or if my children's grandmother see me, they'll still call me the name and I'll just look at them and I won't answer. Now, only person that call me my old name is my father.
Families, when people change their name, we have to respect that, okay? Even if you don't like it. If somebody says, hey, Angel, my name is not LaQuisha no more, my name is Cray Cray, okay? Call him Cray Cray. Don't keep being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And I think you should correct people.
I don't answer to the name. See, I'll go rude on them because I've already told them my name has been this name for quite some time. So I just don't answer them. And I will look at them like they're crazy. Aunts, uncles, they'll be like, I mean, how to pronounce your name? Even my mother who raised me was like, what's your name again? How do you pronounce your new name? And I'll tell her. Now, my father is the only person that I would allow to call me that. My mother-in-law calls me Amira. So I think it's very offensive because you're trying to put me back, and those same people are always trying to remind me, remember when you used to eat meat, remember when you used to do this, and remember when you remember something. Okay.
You know, I tell them people, I said, tell them, look, that girl died, y'all missed the funeral.
Right, exactly.
Me, I don't do that no more. You ain't gonna see me back shaking in the club. I don't drink no more. I don't smoke no more. This is the new me. That girl done died. Okay.
Well, I had a little wine sometimes, but I had a little wine today. I was wine.
My sister Fundi Fee making her own wine.
That's right. Only Fee to put her wine in my spa so I can get me. I had a small glass.
Hey, Mark, how you doing, Simon? I already have a few people I call Cray Cray.
Right.
I heard that. But yeah, so I get it, you know, because I see a lot of people change their name and things like that. By the way, your name is really beautiful. I love
Thank you.
Welly. That is a beautiful name.
Princess Lena Ruler.
Yeah.
That's the first name, and the second name. In order to understand your history, you have to go back into the past, so you can move forward, basically. Okay. Right. And the last name is Secret Truth.
Right. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm Angel, and I'm the Watcher of the Earth. Okay, I'm a watcher here.
That's right.
That's what I do. And I didn't know that, but it's been told to me several times by different people. And as I go through my history, I know what's up. So, Angel. My real name is Angelina, but since I was a baby, they called me Angel. So it's a very powerful name. Never want to change it. I try to live up to it. But angels can go either way. They can be nice and sweet.
Oh yeah.
Up in that, and that's me.
Hell on fire.
Right on you.
Now I'm just saying. Now don't mess with the angels. Now every angel I know, with the exception of you, is something else.
Yeah, when God sent His messengers out, it was sometimes a good message, and it was sometimes a bad message.
It was what it was. It was a message.
That's right. That's right, family. All right.
Yeah. It's in the message is in the eye of the beholder.
Amen.
And it's to bring the truth. So whatever the message is coming from the truth. But whatever.
Amen. I heard that.
So yeah. So okay, yeah. So in the movie starts off. Angel, start the movie off. Break it down.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. It's been a while, and I went on Netflix, I went on Hulu, and all nobody is playing Malcolm X unless you pay for it. So I have seen the movie so many times. I've been watching a lot of the trailers and things like that. So probably better you open up with it. You might be a little bit more fresher in your mind than it is in mine. Yeah.
So basically, because I didn't watch it either. I just seen it
we can go here. We got to remember, how was he before he really got into the truth? He was doing what a lot of us
call him Red. Right. His name was Red, Detroit Red. Because he was an acquaintance of Red Fox, who was from St. Louis. Okay, and so they call him. What did they call him? Was it St. Louis Red? I don't remember I forgot what they call him, but they call him Red too. Right. He had a different name. I can't recall all of that, y'all. Shoot, I have to. Anyway. So basically, see, that's what I'm telling y'all. How in breaking down this movie, it makes me want to poke holes in it because of the fact that I know the history. Okay,
so why don't we do that? Why don't we kind of talk about the movie, but also what you found in his writings that were something we can add to it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Areas that you feel he would want people to know.
Okay. So and Brother Mustafa would tell you I'm a history buff. He would definitely tell you I'm a history buff. He would tell you I know my shit. However, now when you start getting Red Fox put a lot of folks on. Yeah, Red Fox was really cool, and he worked at a club that Brother Malcolm worked in Harlem, and he was a dishwasher.
Oh wow.
Okay. So that's how they met. And also Brother Malcolm, now privy to what the Godfather did on Netflix. I think it was on Netflix, where they did Bumpy Johnson. Now Malcolm and Bumpy Johnson was cool too. And Bumpy kept trying to ask Malcolm, well, what's up? You need me? And he was like, no, brother, we can't keep doing that. Detroit Red. I already said it. Brother Malcolm was Detroit Red. I already said Brother Malcolm was Detroit Red. I couldn't think of Red Fox name. They call him Red too, but they call him a different Red. So I don't remember if it was St. Louis Red. I don't think it was St. Louis Red. It was some other Red. But one of them was Malcolm X was Brother Malcolm was Detroit Red. I already said that, brother. Now come on, you got to come with something that I ain't say. Now don't try to make it seem like you said it.
So silly.
What's up, Brother Mustafa? Anyway, so okay, so he had a lot of connections. Y'all definitely have to understand that. Brother Malcolm was the one that brought Muhammad Ali into the Nation of Islam. But okay, let me go back. Let's start over. So rewind. How y'all do rewind? Okay, so let's go back. So basically, Chicago Red. Malcolm was not Chicago Red, Foodie Fee.
No, he was Sacramento Red. Sacramento Red.
Oh, Malcolm X was the. Let me, y'all get ready. We gotta go back. It was some. Okay, let me get some actual facts. Now y'all get ready to make me go back. Because I don't have my Malcolm X biography is over there. It would take me a minute to find it because I gotta go through my books. Malcolm, hold on, y'all. Let me look it up because y'all get ready to drive me crazy. No, Malcolm X was Detroit Red. Yes, right. Malcolm X was Detroit Red. His nickname was Detroit Red, and they called him Red. No, he was Detroit. I'm right. His name was Detroit Red. Now, okay. Now, Red
to Falcon at Chicago Red.
Chicago Red. You stupid.
We're making stuff up, Fundi.
Right, Frody, stop that.
Just testing you. I have Mark Simon over here on my channel, and Mark Simon says Muhammad Ali betrayed Malcolm X.
Chicago Red. Okay, now Foodie Fee is correct about that. Now, wait a minute.
Dr. Amira, quit making stuff up.
No. They call allegedly. Now they said Red Fox was Detroit Red.
Okay.
No. Malcolm X was Detroit Red. I was right. Okay. However, Foodie Fee was correct when she said that Red Fox was Chicago Red. That's what his name was. Okay. So let me correction. But he wasn't from Chicago, he's from St. Louis.
All right.
But anyway. Okay. All right. So let's make sure we get it right. Okay, let's clarify it. Okay. Let's go back. Okay, so we both were right. Okay.
Let me ask you something. Mark Simon said Muhammad Ali betrayed Malcolm X. Is that true?
I felt like it depends on the behold of the ire. Because we'll have to discuss that because here's the thing. Now, okay, so wait, let me make sure I make this abundantly clear. Okay, so let's do this and hash it out, and then we'll be done with this portion. Okay, Malcolm was Detroit Red. I was correct.
Okay.
However, Foodie Fee was correct when she said Chicago Red that Red Fox was. Okay, so leave me alone, Foodie Fee.
We apologize.
I apologize.
Y'all don't play with Master Foodie. She come with big references.
Okay, it's all good. We were both right, so it's all good. I couldn't remember his name, but yeah, you're correct in Chicago Red, but it didn't make sense for them to call. He had been to Red Fox had been to Chicago. He did frequent there, but he lived in I love you too. He lived in St. Louis though.
Mark, hit that link, honey, and come on over to Dr. Amira channel. That way she can see what you're putting in the chat. We could talk a little bit about why you feel Muhammad Ali was betrayed by Malcolm X.
Now, it depends on the eye of the beholder. Again, because you got to remember. Okay, so I'll touch on that. Okay, let's touch on that. Okay, so the situation is when you're in a religion, and the Nation of Islam was a way of not just because I was in the Nation of Islam, just to share with you guys.
Hold on. Still in the Nation of Islam?
No, I'm not. I used to be. I used to be. My husband used to be in the Nation of Islam.
I have family in the Nation of Islam. I have family who are Catholics. I have family who are Christians, and I have family who is in the craft. Okay, so I have all kinds of resources. Okay, so we have agreed that we all, follow our own journey. What we need. who we call. I believe there's only one God, and I believe he has many names. Let's go.
Okay, that's right. Okay. FOI in the house. All right. Okay, so technically, okay, so let's look at it in the eye of beholder. And I gotta be honest with y'all now. So my brothers and sisters who are in the Nation of Islam, let me put a disclaimer out there. Y'all cannot be mad at history, okay? Y'all cannot be mad at history. Y'all cannot be mad at history. It is what it is. It's a part of history. We all make mistakes.
That's
period.
Right.
And we all have our own individual spiritual journey that we have to go on. This book is going to piss off some Nation of Islam. I still think that you all should still take a gander at this particular book.
What's the name of the book, honey?
It's called The Seventh Child.
Well, why don't I'll order that book, and maybe what we'll do is do some readings out of that on your channel sometime.
I would love, we should really
I'll order that today.
Because this is written by Malcolm X's nephew.
Okay. That sounds great.
Okay. So y'all cannot be mad at me through history. I was not there, but a lot of elders have confirmed this. It's been written down in documented, and it is what it is. Okay. Now, let's get into the Muhammad Ali. Yes, ma'am, we should do a book club. I got so many books that we can cover. From Panthers on down to whatever. Some books before you get, I'll let you know the hook. We'll talk so we can get them at a reasonable price. Okay. So let's touch on the Muhammad Ali part of it. Okay. So technically, when you're in an organization or a way of life, and if you leave or you are suspended for whatever reason, they do have rules and guidelines. And part of the guidelines, or they call them restrictive laws. They used to call them restrictive laws. Y'all not gotta retest my memory. So they call what I just said, okay? Restrictive laws. Okay, so part of restrictive laws are if you're suspended or put out or what have you, or you leave, then you are no longer to have dealings with this particular person. So Muhammad Ali was brought in by who? Brother Malcolm X. So he brought him in, but once he got cool with Elijah Muhammad's son, he became his manager as far as boxing, and he got close to the honorable. We're going to use titles here because I want to be politically correct, because if we're talking about Trump, we'll say President Trump, wouldn't we?
Right, that's right.
All right. So because of that, Brother Muhammad Ali got close with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he stopped talking to Brother Malcolm when he seen him in Africa, because Brother Malcolm went to Africa on several occasions because of his sister Ella. Okay, her son wrote this book. Brother Malcolm's older sister, Ella.
Nice. I gotta get that.
So his name is Ronell P. Collins. Okay.
All right.
So he got close to him. Now, when Muhammad Ali got older, he basically did discuss his relationship with Malcolm, and he felt bad. He did. He felt like, yes, I was wrong. He did say that. He did admit that years and years later. It wasn't just because of the movie showed it, but if you read, documents and information on our brother Muhammad Ali, he had felt bad. Okay, now they were great friends. Yep, and he regretted for the rest of his life. He absolutely did. So, in a sense, yeah, he kind of portrayed him. But at the same time, you got to remember that if you're in an organization, because I've been in organizations where I had to stop certain communications from talking to this particular person because they left. Because I'm like, can I trust them after that? Yes.
Right.
You know? So
And
we gotta be real.
yeah, and that happens in a lot of organizations. The Mormons do it, the Jehovah's Witnesses do it. The thing is, they do it to their own families. We're not
Exactly.
talking no more. Mama not with us. Mama don't want to follow coming to the Kingdom Hall no more. So, they cut you
Gotta
out.
follow orders.
Disassociate.
You gotta follow orders because
Associate with your mama. Shame on you.
I mean, I'm not gonna not associate with my mama. That's something I'm never gonna do. Can't nobody tell me who to talk to. However, on the terms of security wise, you do have to not talk to a particular person, especially if they was put out for whatever reason. Okay.
Right.
Because it could be, you don't know if they're an agent or not. You don't know who they're talking to. And then you damn sure can't tell them about, what's going on within the organization.
Right. Your moves.
You don't know who they're working for. Okay. All right. So I touched on that.
Yeah.
No, exactly. You cannot stop a person's way of life, and you have to it's certain things though, but on certain levels I have discommunicated with people, and I have recently. When I left the organization that I was in a little while ago, I did stop talking to a lot of folks because we're not on the same spiritual pathway, and I'm doing something different, and I don't want them to try to pull me back in because that's no longer who I am. Close ranks. That's exactly what it's called.
But don't you?
Close ranks.
I always think, like, when I got caught up in certain, organizations, congregations, whatever it was, each part that I did not like, there was always something that made me smarter or gave me more knowledge of today. So kind of going through these organizations, even though you grow out of them or you say, nah, they're not really living up to it, there still is something you learned.
Absolutely. You're supposed to.
We have a pastor out here that, well, I was shown. I didn't share it with a lot of people, only people that, I'm supposed to, but he was just really a fake. Okay. But he was a good teacher. But he didn't live up to what he was preaching. And, it was really hard for me to leave because I was also a leader and I was also teaching. And I also shared with a lot of people about this place. But when I found out that it wasn't all that I thought, and this was all in dreams and visions, and it was all spiritual. And I mean, I would be in the place and God would show me something. I'd be like, oh my God, and I'd be looking around like, does anybody else see this, And I remember when I got out and I decided, they were calling me, oh girl, how you get close and they're like, where you at? You know what I'm saying? And I can't tell them what's up, just that I can't be there. But after years and years, I realized how much I learned. Like, I was there. So, it's almost like, if you know the Bible, when you see Moses, right? Moses was used to learn under the Egyptians to one day have to take that Pharaoh down. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you'll be in a place that may not be your rightful place in future, but you need it for that time, right? And Moses was used to get those people out. But he had to go through the culture of Egypt, being an Egyptian, right? Whether it was all true or not, the fact was, wherever you are, good or bad, you learn something that you could take with you, and when I look back at that organization and that place, I learned so much. And I learned so much that I was able to see the BS in it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You learn so much that you're like, wait a minute, you're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute, when are we gonna do this? So it's amazing, when people like yourself been in certain organizations, or I'm quite sure Food DeFi might have been through some things that, whether it's relationships or not, it made you better, hopefully. But I can say, every place I turned from, I got something out of that place that helped me to my greatness today. And that's amazing. So we should never really feel bad about who we once were, but that we have come out of that, right? Better.
Man, I still cannot chew gum to this day because they talked about not chewing gum. You're not supposed to chew gum. I just got to the point where I can play games of chance because I stopped playing games of chance. I'm telling you, certain things it was just very difficult. We still don't celebrate Christmas. It's just difficult. Like my children never really got a Christmas present from me. I just try to celebrate their birthdays. How I blend, how my children, because a lot of people ask me that. Well, how did you do Christmas? Well, I did. How did you Easter? I didn't. I had a mother, and she would do that, and we would have an agreement. I'd be like, don't give them Christmas presents on Christmas Day. Give it to them beforehand. Either you have to give it to them beforehand, or you have to give it to them. If you give it to them on that day, then it cannot be wrapped.
Exactly.
You know,
Even I don't like, a lot of the holiday things. So what I had to do, because I have so much family and it's a part of respect. So what I do is I put it in my content, what is correct in my house. You know what I'm saying? But if I go to your house and you have a tree up and Christmas presents,
I don't trip.
to me. Come on. If you
I did it though back in the day, man. I used to I'll probably cut this down.
Yeah, if you give me a gift, thank you. Praise the Lord. I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some things you're supposed to be given. So you just have to understand the history, understand what it was about. And then you have to ask yourself, am I a pagan? Am I also doing that? No, I'm not worshiping this. So you have to just put it, and I think it's so important to understand the history.
Or you gotta look at it, like you just spending time with your family. That's how I would do it, because sometimes I would just come around. Sometimes I wouldn't come around that day. Sometimes I wouldn't come around days later because I didn't want any parts of it. You know, but when I first got you silly brother will stop. But sometimes what I would do, sometimes I'll be there, cut this down. Yes, go on, my mother get knocked in the street. She just got to the point where she just started laughing because I don't know. It just got kind of funny, pretty much.
That's right.
After a while, you can't help but be fun. I'm like, why is this no pork on your fork? When you first get into
with that, that's with food and stuff and shrimp.
Right. When you first get into it, you kind of be like a ball buster at first. I sound like I'm an Irishman, don't I? I'm like an Irishman.
You start really eating pork was my dad told me a long time ago when I was a kid. I think it must have been the 5th, 6th grade, and he told me if you take a piece of pig, ham, and you put it on the counter and leave it there, he said it turns into maggots.
It does,
and that was it for me. That I just couldn't do it. I said, "Oh, I don't want to eat." And until this day, I just don't eat it. I just can't do it. Neither shellfish and all that kind. I just don't do it. Certain things I don't eat.
I don't eat that anyway. But yeah, okay. So let's get back to the movie because I know how we'll be. We can go back in. We can still get into different conversations. Yeah. You know how we do. We know how we can still. Y'all know, everybody in the chat. We still gonna have multiple conversations. But at the end of the day, we're gonna talk about the movie. We're gonna get into multiple conversations. So if you all have anything you want to add to a question, Sister Angel, if you want to interject, please do so. I don't feel like it's being rude. I feel like we are really bonding. We're making a meeting of minds and we're connecting. How about that?
That's right.
That's right. But no pork on my fork, by the way.
No pork, no pigs, none of that.
No swine. Anyway, we need to do a movie review. Panthers. I think you, me, and Fundy Fee should do the movie review on Panthers.
Okay. Oh yeah, that would be fun.
You know what I mean? What you think, Fundy Fee?
The Panthers. I think you and your dad was in the Panthers, right? Or was you in the
No,
Panthers?
not my dad, just me.
Yeah, my dad was in the Panthers.
No, just me. No. Wait, whoa! I just found out. Now, wait a minute. My mother did live in California for a spell. She knew Angela Davis.
Okay, yeah.
I just found that out. Out.
Did from the Bay Area.
Yeah, she was. And my uncle lived there too. Her brother. I just found out the last time I went last weekend, and she said that. I can't tell y'all her story, but y'all gonna get me in trouble with her. But let's just say she's like, I don't want to do this.
You right?
I wish one day she would get on. She's like, I'm not getting on there. I wish one day she would get on here and y'all would be rolling. Y'all would be crying, laughing at her.
But some of the Black Panthers, they've done some really horrific stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I remember when my dad was dying, and I didn't know my dad very well. and he was dying of throat cancer. And I remember my cousin Pernell, a lot of them didn't like my dad because they said he was really mean. You know, he was a type of father. He was like this. Like my cousin needed a place to stay, and he said, "Uncle, can I come live with you?" He said, "You can, but your wife can't." So of course he's not going to come without his wife. He would do stuff like that, just and he would say stuff like, "Your wife eat too much. She can't be here," because she was big. I mean, he was just like that. He was mean. But I wasn't raised with my dad. But I remember when he was suffering in the hospital, and most little girls love their fathers regardless. They want to be with their daddies. And I was there for my dad, even though I didn't know him that well. I was like, "Dad, come to Sacramento. We'll get you a place across the way, and I'll take you to the hospital, take you to your chemo." And I was doing all that. But I come to the end. He's dying in the hospital. And I remember my cousin Pernell kept saying, "Angel, come on, leave. Let's just go. Let him, he's getting ready to go, and you need to eat. You haven't, you've been here all day." And
you breaking up.
And I just stayed by his side. Well, finally he goes, "Angel, come here. I want to talk to you." And I said, "What's up, cuz?" He says, "Your dad ran heavy with the Panthers." I said, "Yeah, He said, "Do you remember when what happened at the police station?" And I said, "No," because I was really young. You know what I'm saying? And he left when I was born. I was the third child, and that's when my dad left. And he ran, changed his name, and all this stuff, and got into this organization. But he says what they did was, one night, my dad and a bunch of guys went to the police station, and they locked all the doors and set that place on fire. And those people died in there. And he was basically telling me my dad is suffering for what he had done to some people's family. Because there were so many things that they were doing. And, I just still, I didn't have no hatred for my father, but it made me feel like, wow, did he do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I wasn't raised, I was raised with my mom. My dad was a farmer. He was more of a radical type of thing, but I couldn't fathom, wow, why would they burn them people up, But, they've done some things, and, everybody teaches on, they have a reason for what they did. And I think sometimes you have to be very careful when you do fight or you do, your peaceful protesting and things like that. We have to be very careful when you get into hate crimes and death and killing. And they did a lot of nasty, evil things to our people, burning down houses and hanging men. I mean, all that kind of way out stuff. But
there's a lot of casualties of war. Yeah. That's what they call them.
Yeah, but it made me feel bad to know that my dad had, played a part in that. And, I hated that he told me that. I was like, I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Right. Little girls don't want to hear nothing about that, But I do understand when I go off, because they say, "You're not like your dad." Yeah, I got that blood.
Well,
and I'm going to tie nobody up in the house, or but.
So on meeting of my grandmother again physically in the flesh in person of the third time, I started really telling her some of my history, and she just was looking. You should have seen her eyes got really big. They were like this. You know what I mean? So she's like, "Wow, just looking at you, you would have never known that." But so in the movie, I can't. So let's just kind of just go with the movie, okay? So basically, the movie basically talked about, when his father was a Garvite, okay? For those that don't know what a Garvite is, that was the Honorable Marcus Garvey, who had an organization, who basically fought. He had the Go Back to Africa movement, and he wanted Black people to stand up, be business owners, have their own stuff, and just basically stand up for who they are and go back to Africa, because this stuff here is not for us.
But the Pan-African,
the Pan-Africans, and he was one of the ones that definitely rocked the red, black, and green. Okay, so you see Marcus Garvey, you think red, black, and green. Okay, so basically his father was a Garvite. Okay, his mother and father was a Garvite. Now, what they don't tell you is that this was Earl's second wife, because Earl was married to Ella's mother, and Earl's family stopped really dealing with him because he married Louise, Brother Malcolm's mother. Okay. The Honorable Louise Little. He married her. Okay, so basically, he was telling the times when he was in his mother's belly and how the Ku Klux Klan showed up and burnt down. You know what? They didn't burn anything down, but they had the cross burning in the yard. That's what they used to do back in the day. Now, anyway. Don't make me mad up in here, but so, and she, of course, came to the door showing the smiles of her belly, letting them know, hey, Earl is not here. Reverend Earl is not here. And they basically said, hey, you're ruining our good, N words. Tell your N husband to get out of Dodge and leave the good Christian ends alone here, because they good law-abiding citizens and they slaves, and they'll do everything we tell them to do. So get out of here. Get out of here. That's what they said. Okay. So of course, when Earl got there, Earl was like, what's up? What's going on? They didn't necessarily show it in the movie, but that's basically what happened. She told Earl what happened. They busted out all the windows during that time too as well. And all the children were screaming, and she was the only person there. And they knew that she was there because they watched the household. Okay. Now, the Garvey, Marcus Garvey had his own newspaper. A lot of people don't know that he had ships. He had all kind of black businesses that he owned and that he was trying to run. Now, it's some things behind it, and how they got him out of here was that they said he did mail fraud. He was taking money, from different places. They try to get him through mail fraud, and so basically, Marcus Garvey died of a broken heart.
Oh, wow!
To me.
Crazy.
Because some of his own people sold him out, but we ain't gonna.
But that's how it always is. Even when that's what I can't say about these slave movies. There's always one of their own people.
Slave mind.
Running. They're leaving.
They be like, get that N-word. You know what I mean? Cut this out of here. You know what I mean?
It was always and same with Martin Luther King. I always felt it was also some of his own people.
It was, which is why they pointed to the opposite way that the shots were fired from between her.
I'm not going to say no names, but there are some people that sat in the background that you don't really see them protest or do anything really big, right? Mm-hmm. But they've been around, but they've been shut down and shut it up, and they know how far they can go because they got paid for that,
Well, they always get. Well, that was another thing that Brother Malcolm brought down. Brother Malcolm did a speech. What was that name of that speech?
Well, let me tell you guys something. I love Malcolm X. Okay, right. I love Malcolm X. I don't care what nobody says or what he did. I believe in what he did was the right thing. That's just my opinion. All that personal stuff, and who he hurt feelings, and that's between them and. But I'm talking about him finding out some things that wasn't right.
He did. Now,
what's right, and sometimes you got to go against the grain. I'm just saying that's part of your own. Maybe he could have did it a different way, right? It could have been done differently. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna be upright, be upright.
He had conversations where he did a speech where he was talking about the big five or the big four? Basically, when they were sent to Washington, y'all remember the march on Washington? And he was like, Dr. King, you took that money, Dr. King. He talked. I mean, I'm trying to tell y'all, look at that speech. It may be on YouTube. I'm almost sure it's on YouTube, where he was like, they took. Kennedy gave them. He's like, look, Kennedy went to Dr. King and was like, look, you get these N words together, and don't be having them creating the muckus, these good Christian N words. You get them together and you have them come down here in March, and I'm going to pay you $1 million, and y'all divide it into four different ways.
Mark says, what do you mean his own people did that to Martin? Well, Martin Luther King was going to be killed by the government, right? They wanted to get rid of Martin Luther King, but they had to set him up. They wanted to know where he was going to be, what hotel he was staying at. And there were some people.
What ties to particular tie to let them know so they can make sure they hit their target. And so the people that was there basically pointed one way and the shots came from the opposite direction.
Exactly.
Because Jesse noticed everybody didn't go on the balcony during that time. Yeah. Messy Jesse, a lot of people allegedly state that.
I didn't want to say no names.
Everybody,
but I will. Of them still hovering around that ain't doing much because they've been shut down.
Because they blew up. Think about all the ones who blew up after Dr. King died.
Right. And who's still out there fighting from back then? And why are they not doing too much? You know what I'm saying? Only when they come for their fee to speak at a funeral. Okay.
Exactly. And then you got Messy Jesse, and then you got pimp drug dealing Sharpton.
Oh man. Yeah.
Marshmallow head.
But anyway. so they, you know,
who is a snitch, a known documented snitch. Yeah. I'm just saying.
That's what we're saying.
It also was in organized crime. I'm just saying with the mafia, but you ain't heard that from me. Not with my lips. I didn't say that. I didn't say it. It's documented fact. Okay.
And there's a video out where the guy's talking and slips out. Remember when he goes, and I was supposed to move a little to the right so they can get a clear shot?
He said it.
Yeah, it's on video.
It's on video. I seen that. Yeah, Dick Gregory. Now, if y'all want to,
there you go,
brother Dick Gregory from St. Louis, okay, from my hometown. If y'all want to get a lot of information, now some things he be talking about be some far-fetched stuff. However, I gotta be honest. Now I gotta keep it real. However, if you guys go back, or my brothers and sisters, if you go back to where he talked about Dr. King, the assassination of Dr. King, now he was on point with that one. Some of the stuff I'm like, I don't know about that, Dick. I don't know about that, brother Dick, but okay.
And all right, listen. And you gotta remember a lot of, just like today, we have haters. They get jealous when you're doing well. There was people jealous of Malcolm X that was raised, that was moving up rather quickly, right? And they wait for you.
John Ali. Okay, I'm sorry.
And they're waiting for you to do something, so you can look bad, or they could tell on you, or whatever it is. But that's why we gotta be very careful about being away from these haters. We got haters always. There's somebody in there that don't want to do the work, that get jealous, they get hateful. You know what I'm saying? Pocket watching, all kind of stuff. And back then, it was no different. It was no different.
It's still the same.
It came back from the slave plantation. Okay. Master.
Same mess, different toilet.
Master. Running to tell master. Some of y'all still running to tell master.
Y'all always snatching. Stop snatching.
I'm your master. Okay.
Right.
You listen to
my daddy would not let me have a bull whip. I wanted a bull whip when I was in the organization so I could start beating people with bull whips. My father was like, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? So when I went back to St. Louis this time, why did he have my bull whip on his pool table? I said, really, Daddy? So now that I'm no longer in the organization, you found the bull whip miraculously? Really? He was like, I knew where it was the whole time. I wasn't finna give it to you.
I heard that.
Because you was losing your mind. But anyway,
use that stuff. We got.
I was going.
No, I'm serious. Like my dad's story, you get caught up and you start getting really angry and mad, and you have every right to be, but you don't have that self-control. You go out there and you do some things that you have to, you get with, And Dr. Miller would have been whipping up on some folks.
I did a couple times. Ask Brother Mustafa up in here. That's another story. We ain't gonna have a conversation on here. We ain't gonna talk about that because I would be held responsible.
I don't want to see you in that light, Dr. Miller.
Y'all don't need to know, but let's just say, get that out of here.
fat flashes though sometime when
yeah, I'm having one right now. I keep this here.
when someone look at you wrong, or they playing a game, you be like, Jesus still working on me.
It's like, don't play with me.
I'm still y'all got a flash on you.
Shoot, I have hot flash. I have a flashback. I done had a flashback. Now don't make me go flashbacking on you. Anyway,
Right.
so basically, they were doing this discussion, and of course, he was a minister for the Garvite movement. He was in that, and also, which a lot of people may or may not know. Let me just throw this out here. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was also a Garvite.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that was another reason what made Brother Malcolm, because he looked at him as a father figure. You feel me? Because he lost his father early on. So basically, they stated that Earl committed suicide. He didn't show up one day. He committed suicide, and we know that's a lie. And they would not pay for his funeral. And the life he had life insurance, and of course they would not pay Louise Little, Brother Malcolm's mother, insurance, so they could not afford, she could not afford to take care of all of those children. Okay. And so of course they barely had to, so they end up stealing at times. And so basically sometimes when state steps in, it's not good, because they'll start removing the children. Some of the children was able to go to live with other relatives, okay? And then other children had to go through foster care, and they had to live in the boys' dormitory or what have you. So, but some of the children were actually placed with some relatives, okay? So basically,
but Dr. It's so frustrating when you see that people that fight for the right of the people, and when things happen to them, they don't get taken care of. Same thing happened to that I told you about that, was living in that nursing home, and he did all that teaching on the Egyptian and all that kinds of stuff, but none of the whole time.
You talking about Baba? You talking about? Oh my God! Why can't I?
Ben.
Yeah, Ben. Uncle, brother Ben.
So none of the Hoteps could take Ben in. He had to live in the. You know what I'm saying? And then he sold all his teachings to Brother Farrakhan. He paid for his funeral. But you know what I'm saying? It's always somebody else, but the organization. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta be very careful.
People don't care though. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I talk to a lot of the ex-Panthers from back in the day, or former Panthers I talked to back in the day, and a lot of them that are in prison, because I have done political prisoner writings and things like that to a lot of them, and I've placed monies on some books. Nice. And a lot of them say, they will still do it to this day, but still, it's like people out here is not making it, really easy because of the fact that they just forget about them. They just leave them there and keep it moving and move on with their life. One of the elders I talked with, and he basically said if he had to do it again, it was like a prominent bookstore owner that knew Huey P. Newton, and every time they came to St. Louis, Mr. Huey P. Newton, excuse me. Every time he came to St. Louis, or Dr. Minister Huey P. Newton, every time he came to St. Louis, because he did whoop some ASS to get his degree, he made but nevertheless, we know Minister Huey P. Newton, Dr. Minister Huey P. Newton was right. But he still was great. He still was a genius. But nevertheless, he did whoop on a couple of people to get that degree. But I'm being okay. Anyway, so a lot of them have paid so many prices for trying to survive. Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben Clark, Dr. Clark.
They were all just amazing.
His name. Okay, so in going back to the movie, so of course, they didn't have any insurance to pay for him, and Brother Malcolm's mother did go crazy after that. Because think about this, and prior to that, which is what the book talks about, okay?
I gotta get that.
Prior to that, before she had met this guy, and he was like, I'll help you and your children out. And he was doing little things, and he was feeling her. She was feeling him. She was like, hey, all right, yeah. And so they had a bambino. And he was like, oh, goodbye. He was like, get out of here. That's what happened. He left. He was out.
Man.
You know what I mean? So she really, and that's when Malcolm saw his mother deteriorating, because she just thought that's my biological mom. I had to.
You need to start saying mom.
My
mom.
Well, I mean, it has to be a difference. I have to do a difference because I had a mom who raised me.
Reminds me of
what?
Some crap nature boy would say. What they call those? Your parents? Your I forgot what word they used. Instead of saying my mom, what was the correct word?
Some miss. But I mean, I say biological. Either I say Umi or I call her my biological mom. Or I'd be like, bio mom, listen to her. That's how I talk to her. I'd be like, listen to her, bio mom.
That's your mama.
Wait a minute, give me a second.
What would they say? I'm trying to think of the stupid word they say.
Babylon.
Yeah, that's so ridiculous.
They dumb though.
But your mama called you. Okay, go ahead.
No.
I'm big. I'm your big sister. I'm older. You have to
I'm not comfortable yet. I'm still kind of at the I'm at the level. It's comforting for me to say bio mom. Parental unit. I can't call her that. That's weird too. That's weird. Now I could call my mom who raised me my parental unit, and she would probably laugh. She would really laugh. You sound like what movie was that? Conehead. He was like parental. He was like, "Hey, we are your parental unit." Anyway, so once that had taken place, her mind started snapping out, and so the government could easily come in and be like, we get them. Y'all can't, your children are malnourished. You can't take care of them. Brother Malcolm and the younger brother are stealing. We caught them in the store stealing. So they out of here. So Brother Malcolm went to a boys' dormitory, basically a, home for children who don't have a place to stay.
Right.
Oh, she told me she loved me. So they tell it. So they're were accepted to this home. He had to go to this home, and basically that's when he started really experiencing racism. So to the point where they was calling him, he went to a teacher, and he had really good marks, and he wanted to be a lawyer. And of course, the teacher told him, Brother Malcolm, and you're N-word, and you can't be that. You can be a carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter. You know what I mean? Now you can't. Now they fight you for these so-called N jobs. They used to call them N jobs. They used to call blue-collar jobs N jobs. Y'all know that back in the day. And now they're trying to fist fight you over these jobs. Now, shoot.
Yeah.
So what happened with that? So anyway, so once he experienced that, he just was like, bump it, since I'm an N-word, And so once he was able to, what the movie kind of alludes to, that's at that point, once he became a teenager, his sister Ella stepped in, was like, yo, you can come stay with me in Boston, because Ella had cake. You hear me? Ella was paid. She had houses all around Boston. You know what I mean? She was married to Mr. Collins, so she was paid. She had savings, and that's the reason why she was able to go. The reason why he was able to go to Africa was because of Ella, truth be told. Right. And the reason why Betty Shabazz wasn't so bad off, well, because she did work as a nurse after he had passed on. However, Ella was sliding that check too. Okay, but you ain't heard that from me.
That's right.
But anyway, So in going back, so he started staying with Ella, and Ella got him this job and everything. And of course, Brother Malcolm was seeing all the people on the streets who seeing all these hustlers. He was like, yo, let me go out here and get this money. So Malcolm started going to his club, and he said, just like black people, he heard the music. And this is actually in the book, and these are his words. He just started dancing. He started getting that rhythm. He was like, pump, pump, pump. He wasn't doing that per se, but he was doing the jitterbug.
Don't you think Denzel did an amazing job?
He did an excellent. I thought it was Malcolm. I had to go and look. I'm like,
oh, wow.
You know, this is Malcolm. I had to look.
Oh,
wow. What beautiful.
And Malcolm looked like my family. He looked just like
I'm
that.
trying to tell you, Malcolm is gorgeous. Yeah. But we ain't gonna talk about that. I had a, I don't know. I have a weird. I don't know. He is beautiful. But anyway, y'all, let me stop obsessing. Y'all know I get to obsessing over. I don't have to cut the camera off on y'all.
Oh,
let me stop because that's my elder. But he was so fine. Good Lord. I'm sorry. So, but his mind was his mind was something else. But my husband is actually my Malcolm, but we'll have that discussion later. We will have to talk about that later too. We would definitely have to talk about that. Okay, so anyway, here's the thing. So once he started jitterbugging, he started meeting these chicks, and he started meeting, and then that's when he met Shardy, okay, which was played by Spike Lee, who actually did the movie, okay. And actually, here's some things that you all may have not known. At the end of the movie, Spike Lee wasn't barely able to finish the movie because he could not afford the movie, because he basically did the entire movie. So certain people helped to fund the movie, such as Janet Jackson, Bill Cosby, Bill Cosby,
Oprah Winfrey, Janet Jackson.
I said her already.
Jackson.
It was somebody else too. It was
all players. Magic Johnson, I think, was one.
Magic women.
Charles Barkley.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. So celebrities came in and kicked in to make sure that the movie was able to be finished, because this was obviously a very important movie, because most people don't read, and they wouldn't have been reading about no Malcolm. So thank God this, came into a movie form, although it was not really all the way true. And a lot of people was very upset about this movie, especially people like, now Betty was definitely there when Spike Lee was doing the movie. So he did do some consulting with her. Now, I don't know if a lot of people knew that. He did do some consulting with her, but a lot of people in the Nation of Islam was very...
I'll be right. It looks like on my stream something's going on over there, so I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Okay,
right.
No problem. So basically, yeah. What's happening? What's going on with the screen? I'm having some difficulties, so let me make sure that we're able to. Can everybody see me or hear me okay? Because I see my internet's working perfectly fine, but it looks like there are some difficulties with mine, and it may be the things that we're talking about. So I'm going to keep moving though. So nevertheless, once Brother Malcolm started getting into the street life, he didn't necessarily have to, because like I said, Ella had bank, but nevertheless, he just kind of got drawn in because he had lost sense of self, and at this time, by then, of course, they had placed his mother into a mental ward, okay? So his mother got into a mental ward, and of course, Brother Malcolm, kind of messed up his mind. And then later on, Malcolm met a young lady that was, her parental unit tried to protect her and didn't want her to become, what my mother used to call it, a marked girl. Yeah, well, let me tell you what a marked girl is. I know some of y'all basically, wanting to wait to have sex and being married. Okay, basically, if you did so, you would become a marked girl, and most it's just like a drug. And so once you have sex, you will have more sex with different people, and then you're a mark girl. Okay, so that's basically what they. And she wanted her to save her virginity to her husband. Okay, but of course Malcolm was like, no, I can't disappoint. And this actually, he talked about this in the book, How You Doing, Queen? And later on, what ended up happening is, later on in the book and in the movie, the lady did actually, he did meet her once he, got out of the dancing clubs. He wind up doing schemes and doing robbery. And I know a lot. There is another book that's out there where they was basically trying to say Brother Malcolm was homosexual or bisexual or something like that. False. So I know a lot of people within different communities want to try to label Brother Malcolm as such, but they're lying. Okay, they are damn lying. I'll say it again, damn lie. So what ended up happening is, so he did wind up meeting this later in the book. In the movie, when he joined Nation of Islam, he seen a woman on the streets, and she had by then become a prostitute. Okay, so, and actually he kind of dumped her to be with a white girl. Now this part is obviously true. That was in the book and as well as in the movie. However, he did see the girl out somewhere in the book, and I think she was giving him information on, telling him about a particular cop or who was doing this and who was doing that, and she was kind of like an ally for him, and he kind of, that's at that point in time, he started kind of, sleeping with her at that point in time, but whatever. According to the book. Now, the movie, like I said, later on in life, when he had joined the Nation of Islam, he saw on the street corner and just kind of messed up his head a little bit. However, that kind of happened a little bit in some ways as well. Now, as he got caught, he wound up getting caught, and I know y'all saw the part of the movie where his head was now that part is kind of true. And that was probably one of the funniest parts in the movie, where basically Shorty, played by Spike Lee, started perming his hair. And they didn't have any water, so he stuck his head in the toilet bowl. So to try to get the perm out, and burnt the hell out of his head. Okay, and then in flashback and going back, he met one of the gangsters, and he basically was trying to scam one of the gangsters, Archie. I forgot what the one actor, because they had like a phenomenal cast in this particular movie. So that's also what I enjoyed about the movie, is basically the cast that they had. Okay. So from there, once in going there and them doing this connection with these types of energies, so they, basically Malcolm tried to scam. This was before the head in the toilet bowl. Okay, I'm going back, I'm rewinding. So once he did that, he tried to scam him, and then he had to get out of there, and so Shorty basically had to sneak him out of there. Now, wait a minute. Now, I remember somewhere where I definitely know that one of the characters in the book, I think it was multiple Shorties too, if I remember correct. No, Crash, I have to go back to the book. I'm telling you, that's why I need to have found my book. But anyway, let me go back. So once he got out of there and he was rescued, him, the white girl, and Shorty and the other white girl, they took off and went to another city. I forgot what city that they went to. So once that had taken place, now reverse, they was robbing houses, and one of the white woman he was messing with, she was actually helping to rob. She was basically telling him different people that they can rob, and basically, it was her husband had been trying to kill Malcolm in the book. Now, they didn't talk about that in the movie. They didn't even make reference to it. Okay, so from that, once he got arrested, him and Shorty, they basically threw the book at him, which they said in the book as well as in the movie. And from that, of course, the white girls didn't do no time, because those N-words basically took advantage of them. They did the Karen. They was screaming Karen. They was get this out of here. That's what they was doing, right? So what's up? What up, Queen? I want to make sure that I spoke to you. So from there, once they enter back into the scene, Brother Malcolm is behind prison walls. He meets his brother named Bang. That's not actually actual fact, according to if you're reading his books as well as other, documented history. His family, Reginald, and his younger brother Reginald, and some more of his other brothers were already in the Nation of Islam. And even his one of his older sisters, not Ella though. Ella did join the Nation of Islam. She joined the Nation of Islam under Minister Louis Farrakhan, when Minister Louis Farrakhan was the minister in Boston. Okay. And they did not get along, and he would always put her out. But again, read this book. She did not like Minister Louis Farrakhan. I just want that known. But again, a lot of their families.
Get that book.
Huh? I know I keep referring to it. I know I keep referring to it because they had a lot of great information.
I want Fundi Fee to get it too if she doesn't already have it in her library. That way we could do some reading out of it. Because there was a gentleman, Mark, he said that the family really didn't like the movie. And I don't know why when they did the movie, they did not kind of interview the family in a sense to see what some things that could make it more
Betty. Right. He talked with Betty though.
Okay.
So Betty did some things that, she gave him some history, some references on how this looked or how that looked. Right. He did talk to Betty, but did Spike Lee talk to every member of his family? No, because right. Malcolm did have grandchildren, but that's another story. His one grandson, which was named after him, which Cabilla's son, was assassinated in Mexico, but that's another story. Okay. That was like back in 2010, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. But anyway, that's another. We have to talk about that off.
Right.
But anywho, so in going back to that, I have so much wealth in my head knowledge.
And I like that part too, when he's getting his perm.
Right. That was hilarious. That actually happened. That's also in the book. And he talked about that, and he burnt his whole entire scalp. And so from there, he went to prison. And of course, he met his brother Banks. But we know Brother Banks was a fictional character. It was actually his brother Reginald. His whole entire family, most of his family was in the Nation of Islam by then. And so they sent Brother Reginald in. According to the book, it was something to the fact of, and don't quote me on this, y'all, because I'm just giving y'all a reference. Now, basically, what he told him was that I got a way that you can get out of prison. And Michael was like, "What? Really? What kind of way can I get out of prison?" You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Dude, I could tell you, brother, you can get out of prison if you just do this." He's like, "What?" He said, "You just wait, just do this, and that. And next time I come visit you, I'll tell you." And then he was like, "Man." You know what I mean? So anyway, that's when he started really getting the teachings through his family.
Right.
And by then, he started writing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad started really taking a liking to Brother Malcolm, because Brother Malcolm was a loyal, faithful student. You know what I mean? That would listen to him and hold on to every word that he said. He said he got to the point, and my husband, should I share this with you all? Yes, I'm going to share it. He's not going to watch the video.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us.
I'm going to tell you. So, in the part when he was in jail and he saw the vision of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in his cell, my husband said he experienced that before.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. Wow. That's powerful.
Hey, look at y'all. Don't y'all tell them.
When you get to a place like that, when people, call it Holy Ghost filled, I think it's a lot of the same thing, but some people see it
it's in a different way. It's just in a different way.
And I've been
there. I see butterflies, but we ain't gonna have that conversation.
I've been there several times where I hear God had told me some things, and that's what made me really respect people for who they are, because everybody has a purpose. And sometimes even somebody that you may not agree with, their lifestyle, whatever, can help you in a time of need. And I've
Absolutely.
seen it happen over and over and over. Vice versa with people that probably didn't like me for my beliefs and ended up helping them. And it's just powerful. And when he was saying I could help you get out of jail, because he was saying when you leave out of here, you're going to go back to putting that fake stuff in your hair. You're going to go back to chasing these women, and smoking and drinking and all this stuff that is nothing. You're just killing yourself.
Exactly.
So it's true when people cleanse themselves and they really are sincere. That's like I tell people, it's not about the church building. We are the church. You can experience and see what you want to see, but you got to be for real, and the motive's got to be right. And you will be in awe, and you will see some amazing things. And then it gets so you build that relationship where it just becomes your day to day. You could be in the midst of something that can cause you, something to happen to you wrong, and you'll get that voice that'll say, fall back, don't say nothing. And I've been there where I could have been, I go into jail to minister to people, but I could have been that person in jail many times because of my temper, because I don't like the way you talk to me, and I'm prideful. I don't appreciate that. And all you're not going to get away with this. But it got to a point where you learn, and it's beautiful when you can get out of prison and get out and be free and be like, no, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? No,
but some of us can be in prison inside of our minds. Absolutely. So it's not always about the place that you're in, but it's about the spiritual, the energy that you display, and the energy and the hell that you have within you.
I was just talking to this woman, this Caucasian woman. Mm-hmm. She got a beautiful home. She has, 4 or 5 children, her husband. And she had this whole facade going on, just beautiful life, the big swimming pool and all this. But, she got to get real with me. And she told me, in so many words, I'm not happy. Right. My husband doesn't appreciate me. And the kids, they don't ever see my struggle, what I went through. Husband probably cheated on her. So, she had so much. But you're looking at the picture. But they're not free. You know what I'm saying? It's all material. It's all, this fake stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it's not real. Your needs aren't being met. You know what I'm saying?
You're not happy.
You're not happy. You're not happy. And when she told me that, I knew she wasn't happy. That was a funny thing about it. Mm-hmm. I could see through it. Especially when you're doing things that people can watch or see. And flags would always come up, but I'm not one that would get in your business, because to be honest with you, I don't want to hear you complain about your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. First of all, because I suck at relationships. Let's start there. I'm not good at it. I'm good at being single. You want to talk about single life and being happy, celebrating being single? I'm that girl. But about marriage and building, and because I'm childish still in my 50s, I'm learning. Me and my husband be going through all kinds of stuff. Like, it's just a grace of God. So when people, have this whole facade, I'll go with you on that. Oh, yeah, go on, girl. Yeah, whoop, but I know what's up.
Yeah, but you still gonna be right there with them. So that's what I'm. That's
you want to flip, I'm gonna flip. You want to flop, I'm gonna flop. But when you want to get real, we can get real. But I'll play your game with you because I love you. I love you. And when she told me she wasn't happy and she was prisoned in her mind. She couldn't talk to her husband about the way she felt. So I was like, well, did you tell him? See, I'm different. That's why we're always up and down in my relationship, because I'm always busting you out. I'm like right here, right now. I'm a communicator. And you got to be careful when you're married to someone who likes to communicate.
Yeah, I do. So I'm like, look, I ain't happy today. I'm just not happy today. How about I'll be like, why you not happy today? I'll be like, yeah. Sometimes it'll be funny. I'm like, I'm just not happy today. Why you not happy? I don't know. You do know why you not happy. Well, I'm not happy because you left your drawers on the floor.
Right.
So
right.
So when you get into that level, you just have to express yourself, and I say I'm expressing myself,
especially when you're newlyweds. Oh my, because you're still learning.
You gotta keep it real. You gotta keep it real. Just you just gotta. Sometimes you gotta be mindful of people's feelings at the moment, though. But you can still say what you need to say. But you sometimes just think about the way you're gonna say it, because sometimes people take it wrong. Because sometimes they'll shut you down before you can get it out. So anyway, in the movie where he started talking to his fictional character, Brother Bangs, and I'm telling you, it was a fictional character. Don't believe the hype. It was his brother Reginald telling him he can get out. Okay. And his other siblings that also was in the Nation of Islam, because they had grew up in ranks in the Nation of Islam as well, and they really enjoyed the relationship of the Nation of Islam, because it definitely wasn't just a religion for them, but it was also a way of living, a lifestyle, a spirituality, and it brought them a sense of peace, of having discipline, of eating one meal a day, and refraining from eating pork or pork byproducts, or cursing out your wife and living a street life, and cursing out your husband and beating him over the head with a bat. This crazy natty stuff, and just being respectable, and having a clean shave, and not breaking any laws, any American laws or any constitutional laws within reason. As long as it doesn't go against your religion, then you obviously can follow the laws, until it goes against what your religion is, what your spiritual belief is, which is in Islam. So once Brother Malcolm got out of jail, he finally met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He's like, yeah, you're like a daddy figure to me. He began to start growing up in ranks. Now, if I was better, I would have been pushing all the women down to get to him.
Right?
But anyway, so those were a lot of sisters that started eyeballing him, like in the book. He was like, woo, woo, woo. You know what I mean? Had this, nice looking good brother that knew, as in the Christian church, they say he knew the word. And
right.
Who could testify, and he was a good old Christian, he's a good old man. And I remember when I was in the Nation of Islam, a lot of Elijah Muhammad did say, he said the best Muslims made the best Christians. So if you were a great Christian, you would definitely be an excellent Muslim. You'd be definitely dedicated. And he also said that if you were a streetwalker, you would make the best Muslim. If you was a drug dealer, you would make the best Muslim. So a lot of different people. So whatever you were dedicated to, and you just turned the light of the candle and came into the growth of Islam, then you could be the best at that. Okay. So once Brother Malcolm was out, now what they didn't tell you is that he worked at a furniture store. They had that in the book. They did not have that in the movie. They just had it like he just was working for the Nation of Islam. No, he actually was working for a furniture store, and I think it was a Jewish man that owned the furniture store, and it was very high priced, and Malcolm sold furniture. And that's actually how him and Betty got the jalopy table that she was yelling about. A broken down jalopy table. He's like, don't you raise your voice in my house. Me and my husband reenact that scene all the time, but we're not going to talk about that. That's too much.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, Goddess in Gold. I'm over here on Dr. Amira channel. Let me put the link in there. You can come on over here in the chat. Let me I'm sorry. Go ahead, sister.
Yeah. So once he gets out and he's talking to him, and so he's working at this furniture store, and he's also doing a lot of what they call fishing. Fishing basically means where you give people flyers, tell people where you're going to be holding your meetings at, where you're going to be doing. You're recruiting people to come in the organization. Basically, that's what it is. And so, of course, you see Al Sharpton with his drug pimp dealing self. He does a cameo in the movie. Then you also see Bobby Seals, which was a Panther who wrote Seize the Time. He was also in the movie as well. He was one of the ministers that was doing the pulpit, was standing on the little box, and he was like, yeah, Christian, God gotta be, he did a cameo. It was Al Sharpton, it was him as well. So I don't know if you all peeped that, but that was Chairman Bobby Seale. okay, which was a Panther, a former Panther back in the 60s. He was with the second development of Panthers, because there's okay, anyway, we ain't ready to get into all Panther history because I'll break that down too. So once Brother Malcolm sight his eyes on, he said when he first met Betty, and he heard, now in his book, he said he first met Betty and he was kind of intrigued by her.
Right.
That was his way of saying that he was attracted to her. Okay. He said, and he had heard, because she was going to nursing school. Right. And at the time, because Betty's adopted. Okay. I don't know if a lot of people knew that. And she was also a Gemini. She was adopted in a Gemini. Oh, and wow. So Betty Shabazz, his wife.
Right, right.
Okay. So basically what happened was her adoptive parents basically was like, we're not paying for your nursing school if you're going to join the Nation of Islam. So Malcolm basically talked to Elijah Muhammad about paying for her education, because he said it was something about her. He just wanted to help her.
Right.
Basically, that was his way of saying he was wong chicka wong wong. Yeah, Betty. And also, if you read in Betty Shabazz's, because her and Coretta Scott became really good friends after the assassinations of both husbands. They was like this. Wow. So that movie, they have a movie, Mary J. Blige. I forget which one she was playing, but anyway, Mary J. Blige was in the movie and another character. It was Betty Shabazz. Okay, it was Mary J. Blige, and it was what's my girl name? Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett played Betty Shabazz, and Mary J. Blige played Betty. Played Coretta Scott King. Okay. So I don't know if y'all saw that movie, but it was.
What was it called?
I think it was Betty and Me.
Betty and Me. I'm gonna have to check that out.
I think it was called Betty and Me.
Okay.
Anyway, it was on Lifetime. It was on Lifetime a long while ago. But actually, Betty did write of a book. I can't remember which book it was because I didn't read so many. About her and Betty's relationship. And at the time, Malcolm Jr., which is Malcolm's grandson, which was the one that allegedly, he was accused of setting the house on fire, which ultimately Betty did die from, succumb to the injuries in that fire, because his mother Quabilla did have, which was Betty and Malcolm's daughter, one of his daughters, suffered from mental illness, and he wanted to go and be with his mother, and is what it is. So that's kind of, some people, there's some stuff with that, so that's a whole nother topic, but so I'm not getting into that, because some people say that it wasn't like that, but then I mean, who knows? That's another story. We'll have to discuss it another day, off of here. So right. Any rate, so Betty they looked at her, and Malcolm was like, ooh, 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 ooh. So basically they married, they wed. And so at that point in time, they started making babies, because Malcolm was no joke and Betty was no joke. And when they looked at each other, and every time he came in town, she was dropping the load, and she was producing all girls. So most men who was something else in the street have a lot of girls. So if you have a husband or a boyfriend or a fiance or whatever, or a son, and he has all girls, they was something else at some point in their time.
Wow.
They're getting they're experiencing certain forms of karma, meaning they're going to learn their lessons with their daughters.
Right.
Okay. So, any rate, so from that,
I'll be right back. Someone's knocking on my door. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. No problem. So, Brother Malcolm, basically, I'm trying to get through this movie, y'all know. So, from that, Brother Malcolm started traveling around the world and starting up mosques all around the country. He became the national representative for the Nation of Islam. And of course, if you read in different books, we hear that him and Betty Shabazz basically stayed in an apartment, and I think his apartment, was it right above John Ali's, or was he was neighbor? They shared an apartment. and I think one was up, one was down, or whatever the case was. But him and Betty, John Ali, which was the secretary at the time in the Nation of Islam, and Brother Malcolm, they shared a flat. John Ali and his wife and Brother Malcolm and Sister Betty shared a spot. So from there, the Nation of Islam gave him a house because, again, he was doing a lot of work from the Nation of Islam, him and his brothers and sisters, and he became minister. But y'all, again, I'm trying not to reveal so much of this book as well as a lot of things I know, because I want us to talk about this book. So from there, he went around town, and then, of course, a lot of people, kind of started hating a little bit. Some little jealousy started beginning. And then, of course, within the Honorable Elijah Muhammad basically was telling Brother Malcolm, telling people to shut up, and he don't want to hear it, and stop coming to him. And of course, now now this is in the book. One of Elijah Muhammad's son, War of Deen Muhammad, which he called himself War of Deen Muhammad, which was named Wallace after Allah person of Master Farad Muhammad, okay, which was he was named after him, Wallace. So Elijah Muhammad's son was basically kind of whispering in Malcolm ear, like, yeah, they said you getting too big, and yeah, they basically they trying to do this, and did you know about my father having all these different children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so in the book, Brother Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad did have a discussion about it, and Brother Malcolm was trying to talk about things in the Bible, like the liar, one of the I can't remember exactly what fable in the story. I think it was Lazarus, about how he had multiple wives, and trying to get people to understand that when you because they thought of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as the messenger. So it's kind of like, for those that may not understand or know, it's kind of like Christian, when you're a Christian, like let's say you're a Christian, in some denominations, they'll say the Father, the Holy Ghost, and the Son. So basically there's a God, there's a Son, right? So Elijah Muhammad, so Jesus was considered like a messenger, or a prophet, or, a son of God, right? So that's somewhat what Elijah was, a messenger. Okay. So people can kind of get and understand the concept. So he was basically God, but not God, not the God, but a God, or a messenger for God. So of course, what a messenger of God says goes. Okay. So he's a leader of this organization. He, was definitely left to run the organization after Master Farad Muhammad. That's a whole nother story. I'm not ready to get into that, but y'all can do y'all research as far as that's concerned. But they didn't discuss that in the movie. Okay. So basically, there was some rumblings around. So Betty was kind of like, dang, she was kind of wanting to be with her husband at that point. She wanted him there a little bit more. Cause like I said, she was dropping it. Okay. And I know what I mean by dropping. Okay. So for those that don't know, for the people in the back that don't know what dropping it, that means she was getting pregnant and having a whole bunch of children. That's what I'm talking about. Dropping it. Okay. Her and Brother Malcolm was getting it in. So from there, she basically kind of felt some kind of way one day, and she was just like, look, she's heard rumors. She's like, she needs to talk to him. Right, and this is like one of the profound moments in the movie where she was like, look. And he was like, what? And she basically, the biggest scene in the movie, he was like, don't you? She was basically like, I forgot a few pivotal points in the movie. I'm trying to help and get through this because we've been talking. But he basically looked at her and she was like, what you want to talk about? She was like, you know what they're saying about you? They're saying that we're stealing. And in a lot of organizations, if they feel like you're getting too high, they will put out rumors that you're stealing. Because I've been through that, done that, but that's a whole nother interview. Sister Angel, we have to have a real situation. Okay. And so they'll say you stealing. They'll say you doing this, you're getting too big. And you know, you're doing this, you're doing that, and a whole bunch of stuff. You're getting too big, and you are doing thing too much, right? And so she basically started yelling at him. He slams the door, and he said, "Don't you raise your voice in my house."
Yeah.
Because she said, "Don't break down your loving tables." So
Yeah, in my house. That's
right.
That's
I'd be like, "Yes, sir."
myself in my house. No, see, I won't. I'd be like, who?
I would have melted.
I would be like, well, we can stop right here because I want my house. You know what I'm saying? If we can't have our house, I'm out. I don't do nothing.
No, he was just.
Yeah.
When you with a man's man, I just would have been melted. I'd be like, okay, you ready to go to bed? I'd have been mad. I'm man. If Malcolm had said that to you, you'd be like, okay, stop playing. You can say that now, but let him have said, look at this. If he looked in your eyes,
we don't really know if he said that. That's what they said.
He did. Oh, he did.
He did say that?
They got into it. Yeah, he talked about that. They got into it. Yeah, they got into it. Yeah, he had to check her. He checked her.
But you know, whenever you're a Hotep or a Israelite or a Islam or what have you, Muslim, you want to call it, they always have this thing pumping up the man. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have no problem with the king. I don't have no problem with the head. I would want that. You know, I want my man to be strong.
You don't want no weak man. You don't want no punk.
I want him to protect me, right?
Yeah, he's gonna protect you. He can't stand up to you.
But I can't handle mine, because then I'm like, okay. So if this don't work out, I'm gonna be butt naked.
No, you know it would not be that way.
Yeah, we have to get the lingo right, because words is powerful. I ain't gonna have nobody cutting me out, and I'm popping out babies, and I'm no.
He ain't like
matter of fact, legs is gonna be closed.
Let me tell you something. Malcolm talked about in the book. At one point in time, Betty was talking about leaving him. You think Malcolm, brother Malcolm, was gonna let Sister Betty leave
but see,
him?
I like the idea that Betty thought about leaving. That's good. Because Malcolm
was like, please, baby, please, in his own way.
100% bona fide queen, a boss, is not going to be letting nobody talk about mine. It's like, no, we can't.
Get past that.
No,
he had to let her know.
Aries.
He had to let her know, like, no, we are not going to do this.
If anything, an Aries is going to be like mine. You know, that's in our nature.
You're dealing with a Taurus man. You would have backed you down in a respectful way. I'm trying to tell you. But it's a way, again, like I'm saying, Taurus men. So you got to understand this. Well, strong men, whether they're Taurus men, whether they're Leo men, because you got Leo, right? And when they are on fire, they are on fire. Now, it's a way that you redirect him. You can still get them together, but it's a way that you get them together. You don't have to yell back at them because both of y'all are arguing.
Right.
What?
Exactly.
You just be like, look, you know, when you stated mine,
there you go. That's me right there.
Later. That's later. You don't have to, or you can just cut him off by stop talking and just look at him like you're a fool and let him do all that rah, and then you get them together. See, that's how I do mine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it's the way you do it,
It's the way you do it.
Absolutely. Because I'm not I'm yelling back in my house.
But do it. Don't just sit up there and let some guy tell you what's his. It's like, no, we building. Okay.
He didn't mean it like that, but still.
Right, I hear you.
It's the way that you come about. It's the way that it has to be communicated.
And when you look at what he was going through, it was almost it came to a point where he was by himself.
He was by himself because you got to think about, you got all these people coming at you, talking about you doing this, that you getting over on this person, you getting over on that person, you don't have nothing. And all he doing is, trying to create more mosque and bring more people into the Nation of Islam and working closer with the messenger. Okay.
Right.
So he's working with him so tough, and then he's trying to bring across his ideal, and he's closer to him than his own sons. So some jealousy there.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then his son is dropping eggs in Brother Malcolm's basket, like, yo, this is what it is. And he's causing distinction. A lot of people don't talk about that though. So he's causing certain things to go down. You feel
right.
So when you having these difficulties, and then you come home and your woman like yak, and you try to build a few. Come on now, you gotta bow down. You let your man is having so much going on. He is like the closest thing to God.
Needs to bring him on back to reality. You know, his sometimes the nose could be so far up somebody else. Mm-hmm. We gotta say, honey, we got some babies need to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we gotta bring them to a certain point.
Ain't buying you nothing for the family. As a matter of fact, we even talked about what happened towards the end when he wasn't around. Ain't nobody was helping her with the babies.
They sure wasn't. Oh well,
she was trying to give.
Let me tell you who was helping them. Let me tell you who. Now this is crazy. Who did Malcolm X do some interviews with? One of the white reporters. Remember him?
Right. What was his name?
Mike Wallace.
Wow.
So children, Malcolm X children call him Uncle Mike.
But he helped him.
He was giving them money, but Ella was kicking in. Ella, Malcolm's sister, was kicking in.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Because like I said, she had a little some, you know. And she was the one that was funding Brother Malcolm's trips to Africa.
Right.
Nation. He went to Africa way before he left the nation. He's gone to Africa several different times. So some of that in the book, when they was kind of talking, in the movie where he was talking like, I seen all races joining together. He been saw that. He didn't just see that at that point. You know what I mean? When he left the Nation of Islam, no, he saw that before he left the Nation of Islam. But that's another story.
But isn't it interesting how, when you look at the Nation of Islam, Christianity, how
similar,
how divided it is? You got
it's
your,
to me.
Huh?
It has a lot of similarities.
Right, but there's always a twist and a turn. Like when you look at the Mormons, they didn't even accept Black people, but they're Christians.
Well, none of these. A lot of these spiritualities did not accept Black folks. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so how could you even be a Christian to begin with when that was just not even in written?
That's Uncle Mike. Yeah, they called him Uncle Mike. Yeah,
that's crazy.
People need to do their research. I'm just saying. But it was a lot of different situations that went on during that time. And then you don't know who to trust because everybody's trying to turn Elijah Muhammad against Brother Malcolm and vice versa. And so on so you have like a father-son relationship, a fraternal father and son relationship. However, it's difficult because you have Brother Malcolm who loved Elijah Muhammad because he was not really raised with his father. He only got to know his father through certain eras because his father used to. This is another thing I didn't tell you about that happened in the book. Now his father was abusive. Brother Malcolm's father was abusive toward his mother. Okay. And Brother Malcolm's mother was abusive toward him because he was light-skinned.
Oh.
And Brother Earl, his father, used to beat a lot of children. Malcolm was one of his favorites because of his complexion. So the dark children.
Is this in the seventh child book?
No, that's in the book. That's in his actual book.
That too.
Let's do it. The biography of Malcolm X written by Alex Haley.
Okay. Yeah,
it's also in there. So I'm mixing books, y'all, because I've read and done so much history on it, so I could tell y'all certain things.
I'm sharing some of this, because some of this I didn't know.
Yeah. So yeah, he did. He was abusive. Now I ain't gonna lie, he was beating. He was abusive. Okay. Wow. And she did beat him because he was light-skinned. Wow. And he was one of his father's favorites because he was light-skinned.
Mm.
So he really didn't have that father figure, like I said. He
So
was
his
more,
mother favored him because he was light, but his
yeah.
mother hated him because he was light.
She was like too though. She was mixed, like damn near mixed. You know, she was from the islands. His mama lived on the islands.
Mm.
You know.
Wow.
So yeah, and Earl was a dark man, and she hated and she hated being light skinned. She hated that one of her father was black. I mean white, and she wanted to peel off her white skin. Her
Mm.
pale white skin. She hated it, and
Wow.
she hated the thought of her father because he was, white.
Right.
Uh,
Mm.
so that's why she married Earl because he was big and black.
Okay.
And she wanted all of her children to be dark skinned.
Yeah, and it didn't work out that way.
Right. So,
Wow.
I'm trying certain things I'm leaving out. I feel like I'm leaving certain things out, but y'all forgive me if I'm leaving anything out. Okay, well, another part that I need to go back to, and then I'm gonna come back forward. Okay, now another one of my favorite scenes was the part when he hit the guy upside. He was like, yeah, your mother, or whatever he said about his mother, and he hit him upside the head with a bottle. Don't you ever say anything against my mother again.
Right.
That was one of my favorite highlights of the movie. So, and when he pulled the gun on the little light spoon, he said, "Well, I'm gonna pull this gun on half for you, yeah, yellow half for you," because he was like, "Yeah, I'm a yellow, N-word, and I'm a white one, or whatever he said." And brother Michael was like, "Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna pull this gun on the yellow half for you." You know what I mean? The white half for you.
Like in the movie when he was telling Malcolm, why do you keep using the N word so much? Because it was just like just a average word.
Right.
And then when you look at the Nation of Islam, how they didn't use that word, it was just like you were taught, you don't
Right.
use it. And then when you see today, people just use that word like it's just, it's like, wow, you would think they'd have come out of that by now, or it'd be not as, you know, comfortable to use.
I think what I think a word that's a usage or over usage word to me too is the B word. I
Oh,
think that's, and if I use that word, I don't like you.
I don't like it at all.
If I use that word, I don't think that's a word that I like, that's not how I talk to my friends. That's not how I talk to the people I love. I think there's not what do they call that? A word of it starts with a C. I don't know. Anyway, it's not no respectful word. Okay. How about if you call me that, I'm gonna assume you hate my guts.
Right. Or even, B, or you're such a no.
H or any of the words.
Right.
Health, not even like helpful, to be
I don't
honest.
like the N word. Oh, I can't stand it. My husband, he'll say it sometimes when he's making it, not to call somebody, but like, saying what people call them or what have you. But I don't like when he says it. I just like they don't use it.
My husband is this my husband.
When I think about the N word, I mean it is some N words out there.
And I don't like cracker either. I don't like cracker or I don't like I don't like slur words. Period. I just think it's very disrespectful.
Yeah, I think the N words out there.
I don't mind that black dude or that white dude or that white girl or that black. I understand you're just giving a picture of what's the scene look like. But
I don't
when you get down to the B and
I describe that as an ignorant person.
just like her, we're in about 2020, and you're bringing us way back to 1800, talking about the Negroes and the. It's just like, oh, and I like in the movie when they were breaking down the word black and the word white.
Brother Brain's fake character,
innocent, pure, and
it's true though. And why the cereal? Remember the brown cereal? Why the brown cereal got to be cuckoo for coconuts? Why you got to be crazy? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the white cereal is like happy, joy. The black cereal is just evil. You know what I mean? That's true though. If you really look about why I gotta be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? You know, it's like why can't I be happy for Cocoa Puffs?
Wow. But it is true when you look at that, and then like we know words are very powerful. So when you speak in words and these words mean this, whether you're calling someone a B or an N, or I had a white guy had asked me, well, what's the big deal? You know, even when that recently that guy from the podcast was interviewing that white guy, and the white guy got frustrated, and he says, I don't got time for this Negro. You know, people were saying, well, what's wrong with that? Well, listen to what he was saying. See, you could say something in a way where you know what's
colored. I don't want to be called colored. I don't want to be called Negro. I don't want to be called none of those things. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to say, look at that black girl, even the way you, I think even the way, the tone that people can say black, like if they be like, look at that black girl over there. Basically, what they want to say, look at that over there. Look at that N-word over there. That's all the contents, you know. Like I had this one woman, I remember I worked at TJ Maxx a long time ago when I had graduated early. And it was like one of my little jobs that I had, you know, while I was in college. And this white old country bumpkin woman from the South, she basically said, well, I don't like her because her lips are so big and her mouth is so much. She said that, and she said it around black women. I said, well, and they was laughing. I walked past and they had told me what she said. And I said, when I see y'all over here laughing, I said, so y'all understand that's racist, right? Y'all understand that she was referring to me being black. No, she was referring to you talking a lot. I said, I don't even talk that much around guys. I said, no, she was being funny.
Right. And not only that, here it is, you know, these women are going out their way to get big lips and putting stuff in their butt, and all the stuff that you've been, you know, ridiculed or teased about is what people want today. You know, most men, not all, but most men love curvy women. You know what I'm saying? So what a lot of women of color naturally have are what some people really, you know, strive for. And when you look back at when people used to pull your hair or call you names, whether it was tar baby or, you know, you're too dark or you know, you might have felt that there was something wrong with you, but realistically, even today, I was saying, wow, you know, people are obsessed with black people. They're obsessed.
Of course, we should take the that's what
person that tells me that how amazing it is to be different, because you didn't only build your country, but your laws and everything is all around people of color. You're obsessed.
Yep, that's why George Washington took the slaves' teeth. They called it wooden teeth. And there wasn't no wooden teeth. What he did was he took slaves' teeth out of their mouth and put it in his mouth and used them as false teeth.
Wow.
He lost all his because he didn't have good dental hygiene. But you ain't heard that from me,
right?
So yeah, so all these rumblings was going on between, you know, a lot of people was trying to create distinction between the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. Okay, so then when it got to be really hectic, and so of course, Brother Malcolm at this point, the government I'm sorry, I almost said that. Let me be politically correct. J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI. Okay. I almost called him something else. And I forgot you're running this from your channel as well. And I don't want to say that. But you know what I was going to say, right?
Right. But let me ask you this. After, because you know a whole lot more about Malcolm X's family, the stories, and what was true about the movie and what was not true because you read from the family. And the family knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
After reading the books and you know, just learning the history, right? And then watching the movie, what would you give that movie from, you know, as 5-star? What would you really give that movie?
I still would give that movie. I think that movie was an excellent movie, though. Wonderful. I still think that was an excellent movie. Yes, he did not have history right. I think it was so Hollywoodized, and I think that you had too many phenomenal actors and actresses in it. You had You had Angela Bassett, which played Betty Shabazz. Excellent. She's one of my faves. Okay.
Me too.
You had Denzel Washington where he was top of his game. Now he's playing this. He's playing Malcolm X over and over and over again. He be like, what he say? He be like, my man.
Yeah. You couldn't get no one better than Denzel to play that part. That was just amazing.
I think Lawrence Fishburne did excellent too, but I think
yeah.
But I still think that they got the right characters for the right movie.
Right.
You know, and they got some more Malcolm X movies. I don't know if you ever saw the one where Morgan Freeman played Malcolm X. I was so pissed at that movie. I was like, what is this mess? This out of here.
Yeah, no. The Malcolm X they showed, you really felt you were watching them. And it felt
and Malcolm.
And I love when he started getting more into spirituality, and I love the way he busted out, the organization. I'm all about exposing. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you something.
I'm like,
in real life, people died behind that. Malcolm, people died behind it in real life. They had people on their side that was getting killed, and they had. Should I be saying this? But it just got. Let's just say people died from. Let's just leave it at people died behind that clothes, like real seriously. So in the movie, I'm trying because this is so when it gets so sensitive for me, and I'm trying to not because I feel the ways. About certain things that happen in real life history, because I've experienced this. It brings back certain triggers.
Right.
So in going and moving forward, what ended up happening is that of course the great split came because if you have people who really was loyal to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you have people that was really loyal to Brother Malcolm because Brother Malcolm did a lot of fishing. And so when you have people who know that, okay, so when he spoke, he was told, don't speak on Kennedy. Right. Brother Malcolm, don't speak on Kennedy. But I probably would have spoke. I would have got suspended too. I ain't gonna front. I would have been like, what, man? No, we talking about this. But there was a lot of stuff that led to that point. It was a lot of things that Malcolm was kind of going and trying to do by himself and things like that. Now, what a lot of people didn't know was that Malcolm also, like a lot of people who came from different countries, he did meet with, if it was from, different countries and they basically talked, they were Muslims from different countries. He definitely was a mentor for them. A lot of people didn't know that. He worked with a lot of the students from that were going to school for university. He did a lot of training. He used to sleep at this one bookstore. I can't remember the name of the bookstore that I went to. I met the actual guy who Brother Malcolm, he took me back into the area where Brother Malcolm was. He had a lot of his stuff. I'm telling you, I was like, can I buy that? I bought a lot of stuff. He was showing me, he's like, I can't give you this, but I did take a picture. It was a lot of different things where he slept. In the book, he talked about a bookstore that he used to always go into, and he would sleep in the back. He would read so much, and he would go into the back and read. And then he actually met this particular individual, Che Guevara. They had a meeting of the minds, and Che Guevara also talked about their meeting. Okay, he met a lot of different people from history that he definitely sat down with, and a lot
of people respected him.
Yeah,
even with the breakup, you know what I'm saying. And people got mad, and I could see why they got mad, but at the same time, he was serious. You know what I'm saying? He changed his whole life and believed in something that.
And his whole family was in it. And it was to the point where his family was basically like, yeah, he crazy. They was doing news reports like, yeah, my brother suffered from the same thing that my mother suffered from. On news, your own family.
Right. But if I had a dad like that, I would be so honored. You know what I'm saying? That had a father that, stood on good character. You know what I'm saying? He stuck for what was right. Even though maybe people didn't like the way he did. It didn't matter.
Understand.
Yeah. He was serious about his
work. He was totally misunderstood though. Brother
Yeah.
Malcolm was a very misunderstood individuals, and a lot of people would call him a traitor.
Nobody
Uh,
said I think Malcolm
but
is where it's at.
he was loyal, but it's just
To be
it was a
straight
lot.
out.
It was a lot of things that had occurred during that time, so it's really hard to. You could just look at it, and to me, in knowing the history, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, this is where I'm getting ready to get real. I think both of them worked out. Both of them. Him and Elijah Muhammad, him and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I know a lot of you all from the Nation of Islam are going to be mad at me, but I really don't. I gotta be honest. I think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was wrong on the point. I think Brother Malcolm was wrong too to a certain point, but I love Brother Malcolm. I think that it's the way that he went about it, because he already knew about he already knew about, you know, all the different wives, and it was a lot of stuff. Since then, you and I have to talk about this later at some point. But he already knew about a lot of stuff that he started airing out. And I'm like, dang, he was airing them out.
But I believe he probably, just think if we were in an organization, right? And I'm coming
I've been there. Mm-hmm.
And they're acting stupid. They don't want to act, well, you know, it is what it is. No, it's not what it is. Wrong. You know what I'm saying? And these people not being taken care of. You got these young girls, you know what I'm saying? And it's like being lied to. And it's just not the way to go. You know what I'm saying? Because this man's not taking care of these babies. He's not going to be raising a family. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, it's a little bit more to that.
Right.
It's a little bit more to that. It's a little bit more to that.
Right. But whatever way it goes, if you're going to live a life of a family, right, and how you should conduct yourself in that family, it should be that way. But
well, I know about it though. See, okay, so those were his wives.
Okay.
It just wasn't known to everybody. And Brother Mustafa, I know you roll with Brother the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's cool.
No, we feel you on that. We're not nothing wrong with, you know, which way you want to go. We're talking about how things, you know, how it all came apart.
The key component, which is what a lot of us or not, which throughout history, the key component has always been the wizard behind the mask, or the wizard behind the Oz, so to speak. It's always a certain person who always pulling the strings. And when you have string pullers in the midst, things can make things more, because again, you got to remember, COINTELPRO, which wasn't necessarily called that then, it later became that, but you have, I almost called him again, J. Edgar Hoover, which was FBI director, and he would send letters to Malcolm saying this and this and that. Then they would have wiring tapings, and then Malcolm actually taped the FBI. That's also, if you do you can Google that, where Brother Malcolm was having a conversation with them, and Brother Malcolm always taped everything. He always had it on record. Okay. And so he taped the conversation because they came to him and Brother Ali. They came to Ali at one point in time. That's another situation. That's another, we have to cut this tape off for me to talk about that. Then there was another situation where, and you know, also who's a great historian, also Lance Shabazz.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Lance Shabazz. And he's out of New York. He's done a lot of historian, especially when it comes to the Nation of Islam. He cold on that. He cold in them streets. I respect that elder a lot. He was around with Elijah Muhammad. He was around on a lot of stuff that occurred.
Collective Mind Radio says, I love him, but I roll with Elijah.
Yeah, we know. So when you have that situation going on, and you'll have them sending letters to Elijah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, saying this and this and that, right? And then you'll have letters sent to Brother Malcolm saying this and this and that. You'll tape record these conversations. So Brother Malcolm was having a conversation with the FBI, and they was asking him questions, and he was basically like, well, I'm not going to answer that, and I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? He'll rephrase the question back to him. Malcolm was a bad motherfucker. So, you know, go and listen to that if you ever come across FBI tapes on Brother Malcolm X, even to the point where when in the movie they said, compared to King, Brother Malcolm's a monk. You know what I was trying to say, right?
Wow.
Okay. That's another story about King. We have to cut the tapes off on that, Sister Angel, because if I say what I know about everybody trying to put anyway, I ain't gonna even have that conversation. So so as time moved on, so basically attention started building. He told him not to speak on JFK, okay, the president, okay, who was assassinated because he had just got assassinated, and of course, back then, black people love JFK, okay.
Right.
Y'all know some of y'all Negroes. So-called Negroes. If you read into books like this written by Elijah Muhammad, you are going to find so-called Negro a lot. So,
okay,
because that's the language that was used back then. However, he said these so-called Negroes loved
President
JFK.
Right.
Okay, and so of course, Brother Malcolm was like, I'm gonna talk about it anyway, because he really didn't see it as, in his mind, he was like, well, maybe if I just kind of go around it, because as Tauruses, a lot of people don't understand this about Tauruses. So we are rule breakers, but we're not rule breakers like with the intentions of we're gonna break this rule and we are hard-headed. But we look at things. If I twist it that way, then it won't disappoint Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad will see it at a different point. So that kind of was kind of going with that there, but it backfired. So what the enemies did that was jealous of Malcolm used that to their advantage. And they was like, look, you heard what he just said. You heard what he just said. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
But what he was saying wasn't,
he said the chickens come home to roost.
To roost. But look at the people that got slaughtered in his lineage. You know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure it was very hurtful. Maybe they weren't presidents, but they were important people as well. And basically, he was saying what goes around comes around. And maybe people really love JF Kennedy or whatever, but it wasn't anything personal. It was just he was saying something that they took out of context. That's what
they definitely took it out of content. But when you're instructed in an organization
that's looking for anything to tear you down,
looking for anything to bring down the nation, and then you got to remember that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, has been to jail a lot of times. Based off his spiritual and religious beliefs. Right. He went to jail for that, not just a draft card, not being in the army.
But in a sense, as they were growing and becoming more powerful because they had great followers, right? And they were dealing in a conduct where you really couldn't arrest them. They were becoming upright men, fighting for.
They could be arrested, but they have tried.
But check this out: they wanted to control what they say and what they don't say. And what I liked about Malcolm X was he was saying what he felt, whether you like it or not. He was told not to talk about this, or this. Because
you talking about the nation. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. I got you. I thought you were talking about the outside party. Yeah, I got you. Oh yeah, of course. So that's how it is. When you're in an organization, because it's not just about you. Right. You have to consider how this particular person may feel, or what will it do to the detrimental of the organization. Because they did a documentary, The Hate That Gives. So it was called The Hate That Gives. Let me see. Let me make sure. I'm going to do some actual facts. I sound like I'm in the Nation of Islam again. Don't stop. The hate.
You're right there, the hate that gives.
Wait. No, it's not the hate that gives. Wait a minute. Let me think about what was that. What was the documentary on the Nation of Islam? Documentary on Nation of Islam.
What made you get out of the Nation of Islam?
Oh, that's another story. That's a whole other story. I can't talk about that off of here.
Yeah, we could talk about that off.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that off of here. It was time. It was time.
Yeah, everybody got their own way of.
It says the hate that. Okay, so it's called The Hate That Hate Produced. That's what it was called. Okay.
That hate produced.
It was a television documentary, and it was basically Black nationalism in America. Okay, So that was by guess what? Mike Wallace and Louis Lomax. Okay, that's a whole nother name. Louis Lomax. Remember that name because that's an important
Louis,
for history.
I'm sorry.
Lomax, Lomax.
Okay, Lomax.
Okay.
Lomax, no N.
Just Lomax.
Okay.
Okay. So this, of course, was narrated by Mike Wallace. Okay. And Mike Wallace did, and we'll have to have that. That's a whole nother conversation. Man. Anyway, so this was produced back in 1959. Okay. So this had came out. So there, of course, now all media is good media, even if it's bad. Even though they tried to smear the nation, try to make them look bad, of course you're gonna have. Guess what they're gonna do? Make people pay attention worldwide. So you're gonna have more followers.
Exactly.
You feel me? Exactly. And then you got this attractive black man. Because one thing about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is somebody gonna get mad at me. That's the Nation of Islam. They didn't really allow a lot of ugly ministers to be ministers.
Wow. Yeah, that's
men.
Actually, even in the Christian church, they actually look for good looking.
Yeah, because you don't want nobody sitting up there at the pulpit looking like foo-foo. Like, oh, he ugly to look at because you want somebody that the men respect. You know, they want to be like, and you want women, you know, to be like, woo, yeah, look at. See, even my grandmother was like,
well, maybe it should have been the other way around. If you really want to get the message out, and get someone that's not too attractive, right? So the ladies can keep their boobies in their blouses. They be sitting in the front of the church with their boobs.
And you'll have an empty church.
I remember this pastor made an announcement. It was so sad because these women was up there in the front row, and I guess his wife got tired of it. And he told him, I'm a man. He said, please, I appreciate if y'all come to church.
They should.
As the words say, modest. But these ladies were dressed like hookers.
I'm not mad at him. But you know what? I've gone in the Nation of Islam. They will give you a cape to put on. They not gonna let you sit up in the Nation of Islam. We used to get us. We be like, no ma'am. We be like, yes ma'am. Excuse me, sister. Assalamu alaikum. We have something for you to put over. We just don't want the brothers to. Yeah.
Lose focus.
We want them to be focused. We want to make sure that you enjoy our lecture.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, ma'am. Do I sound right, brother? Do I sound right, brother Mustafa? Did that MGT come out on them?
Oh, look, put this cape around you. But it's true. Even today, I see some of these women. I'm like, wow.
Well, let me tell you something, brother Mustafa. Now that documentary that young Pharaoh did you look at it? Because that was that man. I mean, he has some information correct. I think for him, let me take the person. You gotta take the personal out. Let me take whether you agree or disagree. I think that he did a decent job for him. I mean, I don't want to say it like that because I'm not trying to knock him. I'm not trying to. It's nothing like that. I think that I was shocked. I didn't know that he had that in him. I didn't, it wasn't as I thought he was gonna be like, yeah, this, you know what I mean? I thought it was gonna be like that, but it wasn't really necessarily like that. I did take a look at it and I did take some notes on it and I really tried to study it. So I don't think it was so bad. I don't think it could have been a lot worse, because but then think about it, brother Mustafa, it didn't damage the Nation of Islam though, right? It didn't bring down the Nation of Islam.
Well, you're not going to bring down that nation.
Right. So it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean?
You're not going to bring down, even when I went to the lady, she was over 30 years teaching this Jehovah's Witness. Mm-hmm. And I came up to the sister and we talked about some things and I showed her some facts. And she looked at me and she said, Angel, I've been in the Jehovah's Witness for over 30 years. She said, my kids are in it. They done married other Jehovah's Witness. Basically, she was telling me, I hear what you're saying.
But I ain't going nowhere.
But I'm in this.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And so if it can't break, if what you do cannot stop people's spirit,
Right.
then it wasn't that bad, because again, that documentary that they did, all they did was bring more people to it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So I
Right.
wouldn't really. So everything is not. Sometimes when things are designed to be negative, sometimes they can be flipped. And so
And
I wouldn't really. If I was in the Nation of Islam still, I would still, because one of the things that I did learn when I was in the Nation of Islam is to understand where people's motives are, right?
right.
And to respect people's motives if they have the best, purest of the motives. And I think a lot of times, I think that a lot of people from the Nation of Islam or someone who is a leader, I think they should have a conversation with Minister with Brother Young Pharaoh, and just ask him why does he feel like how he feel, and just have a real conversation with him,
Well,
either online or offline or both.
let me tell y'all this. If you go back in history, okay,
Mhm.
you had the Egyptians, you had the Hebrews,
Exactly.
you had the Moabites, you had the Jezites, you had the people that they called the
We've been
so-called.
fighting over religion and spirituality
Check
forever.
this out. Check this out. So here comes all these years go by, right? And you got these so-called siblings, the
Mm-hmm.
next generation, the
Right.
bloodlines. So if they had Hebrews, Egyptians, and pagans,
Mm-hmm.
and all these other different religions, they
Mm-hmm.
even said don't go out with these sisters because they have a different God,
Mm-hmm.
right? So today, they're still going to be your Hoteps, your pagans, your Egyptians, the so-called Christians. They're just different names. These people are still here today. So if you have a brother that's saying, "Well, I don't believe in Islam," right?
Right.
Well, there's people that do believe in Islam, and
Exactly.
their heritage, you are who you are.
It is what it is.
And some people are into the crafts. They're like, you know what? I don't need that. I got gifts. I can do this. I can flip that. I can make this happen. And that's what they do. And you have to respect that. If somebody says, I don't believe, and I think it's wrong to say I don't believe that there's no Israelites, or there's no Islam is 500 years after Christianity, so it's not true. Listen, everybody has their purpose, their
Everybody
God.
has their own spiritual
That's you
background.
gotta know that. They've always in history, there was always people who had groups, even in Africa. Not all of them speak the same. They have Swahili language, but there's different tribal languages.
They're
Meaning, and Dr. Amira spoke different tribal languages, but we could speak Swahili. You're not my sister. We're different tribes. But what happened was in slavery, they brought all these people. They had different culture, different way that they prayed, different way they ate, right? You can go to one place and you see people that still teach on the Torah, right? You have some people that believe in spirituality their own way. Some people believe in their ancestors. So you have all this stuff, and it's still today. It's the same today. So you're going to have the Nation of Islam. You're going to have, pagan worship. You're going to have people that don't only believe in science, right?
exactly.
You have to know that they have the right free will to do what they want to do. What you got to do is focus on what's working for you. I tell people, if you're doing whatever you're doing, is anything changed in your life? Are you getting to where you want to go out of this journey in life? Are you happy? If you're not, if things ain't never working for you, maybe you need to re-examine who you're following and ask yourself, why do you follow this way? Because I'm gonna tell you, there's gonna be like right now with this whole COVID-19, there ain't no too many meetings right now. Are you still living up to your character,
Your lifestyle.
your
Yeah.
lifestyle? Are you still connected, or are you just following somebody? Are you buck wild into your next meeting? You know what I'm saying? So I believe in all of it. I believe it. If
I
somebody
do
says,
too. That's why I can't. That's why I can't. That's why with every spirituality or every religion I have, I feel like know about that, and I can find good in all of it.
right, and
You know,
you can be respectful and say, okay, that's not how I get down. I don't do it that way.
right? I do mine
To
just
do
look.
it, and for me to try to do it your way is just not comfortable to me. I'm more connected when I do this. I find that this worked for me. You know, I found out when I was sick, and especially when I had cancer, and they told me it's spreading and this and that, and I went and did what I know, and you know, I heard, you know what I'm saying? I was spoken to on the other side. I knew how I was connected. So you have to do your own journey. It's not about people laying hands and, you know, everybody selling you a dream. It's about you walking in it and finding out, is this right? You know, is this right for me and my family?
This is my purpose, because every family is going to have their own connection. Like just like my husband, when I first met him, he was a Muslim, you know, and I was kind of in and out of being.
You understood where he was coming from, but you wasn't always, you know, you
weren't there. I've been in it before, you know, and I had left, and I can't. It was like a revolving door for me. I'd say that. Let me just say that it's just like a Christian who's kind of in the church, their foot halfway in the church, and foot halfway out. I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so as we began to start really connecting and more that we started going down, we started evolving.
Amen.
So when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about, I'm gonna throw this out here. Brother Mustafa, Elijah Muhammad talked about crystals. He talked about manifestation. So I just went a higher level and got where he's talking about, you know, where crystals and manifestations and Dr. Reverend Ike, but that's another story. I know that there's some little pimpery in there, just a little bit, but however, he was one of the first to bring metaphysical to the Black community. Okay. So one of the ones, but Elijah Muhammad definitely talked about that in so many ways if you go deep into his
stuff. And it's all true. Crystals, energy. We know all these gems and jewels that we wear, they all have energy. They've been tested, they come from the earth, they were for a purpose. When you go to ancient Egypt, they had crystals set up to focus, you know, the direction of the sun, to utilize like we use PG&E.
And a pyramid, yeah.
Yeah, they even had pyramids where they went in and they felt like,
crystals.
Scared if something turned on, I might get electrocuted up in
my here. Pyramid is right over there.
Amen.
Y'all want to see?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Okay.
That's cool.
I'll show you one of my crystals. This is not my larger one. This is my grounding crystal. This is not my largest one. It won't fit in here because of the ceiling.
Oh wow.
It's 7 foot. So that's my outside.
And how tall is this one?
That one's about, well, I can sit under it.
Oh, nice.
And I'm 5'5". I can sit under.
Cool. Very nice.
For a chair.
Nice.
Okay.
I see you got your fountain over there.
Yep.
Beautiful. Yeah, everybody needs your what is good for your spirit to set up and to do your meditation or your grounding, they call it, or your meditation. Like my husband, he meditates all the time. He's always in deep meditation.
I'm telling you.
Everybody
has their own dish. So within the movie, the split came. So after he spoke, of course, there were some repercussions. Let
me just say that I think it's very disrespectful. I think it's very disrespectful to hate on anybody's organization.
It is.
You have to agree with it. Okay. But for you to do a whole document, I would never do that to hate on somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't have to agree with it. You know what I'm saying? But why would you want to sit up there and just?
Well, there's some things that have to be discussed. Okay. I think that some people need to have a conversation. I think that they all should have a type of conversation at some point in time and find out why this is or why this is. And I think there should also be maybe possibly a debate, that they should have a respectful debate. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with meeting of the minds. It's nothing wrong with him feeling the way that he feels. And it's nothing wrong with Nation of Islam feeling how they feel.
But here it is. My whole thing is, okay, if you want to take away something that's working for me, what are you going to give me besides tear down what is working for me? Because I'm telling you, there are people that are in certain organizations
The Nation of
who will be
Islam
like,
saved
God,
people's lives. The Nation of Islam saved my husband's life. The Nation of Islam, at some point in time, has saved my life. At
right.
one
They're
point,
smoking, they're not drinking, they're not in jail, they're taking care of their families,
right?
they're working, they're pulled up
Mhm.
their own bootstraps, they're coming together to build together. And when you come and you start saying, well, this is that and this is messed up and blah, blah, blah. But what do you give them now? Now that you done tore that up, what are you going to give them?
So that's something that has to be discussed.
Yeah,
That's why. That's why people
you want to give me Hotep? Okay, you want to give me Hotep. Okay, and I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying, okay, what is that going to do different than what I'm doing right now? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of
I
it's
know what you're saying, but we'll talk. We'll talk. I promise you. It is you know. I just think that it has to be a conversation. I think that there should be a debate. They should have some type of a debate and have a meeting of minds and do like a debate where they can do a public debate or they can do a private conversation, whatever.
I don't even think they should do a debate because first of all, the Nation of Islam is already set up, and they're not going to ever tear that down.
Well, I don't think it's for that purpose, though. I don't think it's about having to tear them down, or I think that there should be maybe there's some misunderstanding.
Yeah, there might be, but they're not going to leave that lifestyle.
No, I don't think it's about them leaving lifestyle. So that's not even the question. That's not even the sentiment for me, for the way I see it. Okay, looking on the inside, looking on the outside in, because I'm not a Nation of Islam anymore,
right?
And I believe differently than a lot of people, right?
Absolutely.
So what I'm saying is that it should be some type of a dialogue. I think that sometimes and sometimes people can agree to disagree. I think that if we can disagree in a disagreeable fashion where I don't have to talk to y'all and y'all don't have to talk to me. That's also the point of a debate to me. I've seen people have debates where they will say, this is what it is, this is what it is, this is what it is, and this is the understanding of this, and this is why I feel like this is how I feel this way, this is how I feel this way, or this is the reason why this is the reason why this is. And then because again, it goes back into who's really the enemy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we also have to really look at what the true enemy is. And by nature, and see, we got to go back. A lot of us don't understand. We are tribal people. And with different tribes, we're going to battle.
Exactly.
That's normal. That's like,
to be honest with you, I feel comfortable with all the different beliefs because it's written. I can't possibly can't be the same. It's not going to happen.
Heck no. I don't want to be nowhere near the same.
To you, and you should be able to help me. And that's how it used to be. That's why the Bible says, do not abort an Egyptian because your people were in their land. Don't abort an Edomite because that's your brother. You know, a lot of us were intermixed. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times the Nation of Islam might be able, like the Nation of Islam helped Ben. Ben was an Egyptologist. Taught on that for many years, and his own people left him in that nursing home. But Nation of Islam came and paid the bill.
Right.
Come on.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of good that has come out of the Nation of Islam. And it's a lot of bad that has too. No, we gotta be balanced. Heck no, we gotta be real. Right. There's a lot of great and excellence that has come out of the Nation of Islam. If it wasn't for the Nation of Islam, I would not have met my husband.
Oh, see, that's okay. Cool. See?
So, yeah, so I can't sit up, I can't really bash the Nation of Islam. I'd be mad at them sometimes.
Like I tell my husband, I like Farrakhan. I know a lot of people don't like Farrakhan. I don't know what it is. But when I see him,
that's that Tarvis child. That's that Tarvis.
Farrakhan is my brother, regardless. And he know Jesus. I don't care what nobody say. He know Jesus.
He talk about it. Okay. Yeah, he do.
Yeah.
He do.
My husband, sometimes, he doesn't agree with certain things, and I know why he don't agree, and I get that. but that's my brother. That's my brother.
He do some good lectures for you. I'm trying to
That's
tell you.
Brother Farrakhan.
But it's a lot of but you can't but that's just me though. I don't believe that I don't believe I don't I'm gonna find fault. We're gonna find fault in a lot
of all religions.
And every
because man are running it. And man ain't God.
Right.
Get in there and then they go get rich.
I'll be like, God, really?
Mercedes and Porsches and mansions.
Let's be honest. Some things I'll be like, God, really? You want to be a comedian today? Is that what it is? So, you know what I mean? So we gotta. Sometimes we argue with God. I'll be like, what? You know what I mean? What? You know what I mean?
But
so,
God always brings me to free will. He always tells me free will. That's my gift. I give my people is free will. You can live through your life and choose. But he says choose quickly and do it. So if you're going to be in the craft, do the best craft you can do. If you're going to pick to be a Muslim, be the best Muslim you're going to be. If you're going to be a Christian, be the best Christian. If you're going to be a Catholic, be the best Catholic. But choose. You got the right to choose.
Or you can do it all. You be like, I'm a Muslim, Christian, right. Metaphysics.
When it's no longer here, I will find out more truth when hopefully I'll be able to see God and say, God, what's up with that? I didn't get that. And you know.
Yeah, well, why you bring me up here? I mean, you cool and all, but I got stuff I gotta do. Can you make me young again? I gotta go back. I got stuff to do. Come on now. Come on, God. Come on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I'll find out. But in the meantime, I'm gonna deal with people in love.
Right.
You know, I might say, well, you know what? I don't use that. I don't get down like that. I don't really, subscribe to that. But I appreciate you and whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna be hating on people because
I just want to be around good people. I promise you, I just want to be around good people. I don't care what you can believe. You can believe and preach to an eggplant. I don't give a damn.
But now, Dr. Mir, but when you talk about when you used to be in the Nation of Islam and you're not now, so some of these same people will see what you might have saw and end up one day in their time after they get what they're supposed to get out of that, whether it's a husband, some truth or whatever, or the law, they will move because as you grow, you will learn. And you may even learn that same person that's teaching you is full of BS. Because I'm telling you, when I was being taught, I was like, wait a minute, but y'all not doing it. You know what I'm saying? I was growing and I said, well, when are we going to do this? When are we going to go out and do that? Because I knew I was going to be into helping people. I already knew that. I had that spirit. So I need to be around people that are actually in action doing something. So
I just don't want to be in anybody's world where I'm being stifled. I have to be able to have experiences. And even in being married, like my husband will be like, well, be careful about working with brothers because brothers will start liking you and things like that.
That's what my husband said.
And that gets on my nerves. I'd be like, look, everybody don't like me.
That's what I said. No. I said, not everybody like what you like. Yeah, but
right. It's like they look at me as a sister.
But he is right.
But you have to be careful though. But in times, and then I started really listening to him and thinking about it. I was like, dang, now I start feeling uncomfortable around certain brothers. And I'm like, when they come into the healing center and I would do chakra cleanses and things like that. So you do have to be mindful of that. You do have to like, well, dang, maybe my husband kind of do have a point. I mean, I did marry him.
Especially if somebody is, if you're helping somebody, right? Men are attracted to women naturally. Doesn't mean they want to sleep with everybody, but after a while, they can actually get attached to you because you're helping them. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a
transference. Yeah, they teach you about that in healing people.
I told my husband, I said, when we minister, you should minister to men. I should minister to women because women tend to
natural thing. They do.
And some women don't care if you're married. They're like, well, I just want
to. They be like, hey,
Pastor. Right. They just want to know what, I want to have some too, they don't care. Some people they don't respect. And I've been around some men in the church that I've told, even when I was engaged, they had asked me, "Hey, Angel, why don't you come over for dinner?" And I said, "Oh, I'm engaged," and I don't care about that. And that kind of made me feel some kind of way, like, okay, Deacon, okay, all right,
I won't be back to talk to you,
Bill,
thinking I know I can't be around with your little perverted, little nasty self that you ain't got sense enough to know when somebody told your little apostolic head self that I ain't in that family way now. I'm in the family way now. I ain't what you thinking now.
Hey, Collective Minds Radio says I'm in the nation, and I get mad at us sometimes too.
Right.
We're people. We're human. We're gonna do things. Even sometimes the pastor might come off some kind of way. You'd be like, "No, that's not. You shouldn't be doing that. You're the pastor." But he's still a man first. He's still human first, and he's not gonna be, holier than thou every moment of the day. There's gonna be a time he might bust out on his wife and be like,
or he might get a little snip. He might be like, "Look, I done had a rough day. I'm getting ready to get this Jesus pour me some wine."
Right? Or he
this
might
is water, by the way. This is water, everybody. I swear it's water. See?
Or maybe his wife haven't gave him none in a while, and he started looking at, he's a man. He's like,
Wait, let me drink the water.
I see this big booty come,
Hey, he be like, "Hey, sister, good Lord." He on the rostrum. He's like, "Hey, sister, yes, ma'am, good Lord." Passing by, he like, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry about that. Sit down, sister. Sit down. Have a seat. Have a seat."
You should sit.
God bless you.
Sister, you need to be in the front. Sit up here in the front.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Good Lord. Well, and the sister walking around.
Right?
Walking around. I said, "God."
We better run, end this. I know people are saying they still alive. It's been over 3 hours. We're going to have part 3 and part 2 coming up.
Okay, so basically at the end, and then so it takes off, and let's just talk about the direction. Did you like the movie? Let's talk about that.
Well, I give the movie a 5. The movie was amazing, and I think everybody should watch it. And I also seen reviews from other people from all different nationalities, and everybody really loved the movie. And some people didn't even know nothing about the Nation of Islam. They didn't understand what Malcolm X stood for. Some people end up respecting him. Like, wow, he wasn't just as radical as this person that just wanted to war. It wasn't about that, and people really, you'll see a lot of people love Malcolm X. He is respected. They respect Malcolm X. So I love the movie. I thought the movie was real, and I thought it was also to learn how people transition from being from the street life, hating themselves, to loving themselves down to their nappy hair. Okay.
Exactly.
And I give the movie a 5 for 5. I think it was great. I love my Muslim brothers and sisters, and I think everybody should see that movie. And I would like to watch it again. I was looking for it on Hulu and Netflix, and everybody is not playing it right now unless you purchase it. And I have the DVD somewhere. I just don't have a DVD player to play it again. But I'm glad me and Dr. Amira did get together. She was able to share some books, and I would love to read the book.
Well, this is another book my husband just bought for me. Now, I have not read this one yet at all.
Okay. But it's called But Don't You Kill Malcolm.
Okay. You give it a 5, Brother Mustafa? Cool.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And I love.
But I haven't read this book yet. So if anybody has read this book, let me know before I read it.
And Malcolm X didn't die in vain. He did not die in vain.
No, a whole movement has been created from him and through him. So many people, and Betty Shabazz still continued with the organization that he created. Many people did not know that. But, it's a lot. I have so much history up on my brother. Mm-hmm. I can't. It's hard for me to start getting into the aspects. I know I'm supposed to have did it all the way through, but it's really hard for me to get into the part of what happened to him and everything, because again, spoiler for those who haven't seen it. You just need to go see the movie in order, and just make sure. I would suggest people, if you're going to watch the movie, I would also suggest that you all get books, get these different books and read.
What's out of all the books you bought, what's the main book that pretty much kind of gives you a lot of information on Malcolm
This
X?
one. This is one of the bigger ones. I have another one in my library. I can't think of the name of it, but it was also written by one of my brother Malcolm's friends. But it's some great documentaries out there.
I love your earrings, by the way.
I'm gonna say.
I said I love your earrings. I'm gonna have to
thank you.
Similar but color, but I like yours because they look like they're just dark.
They're brown.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'll have some similar, but they're very colorful. I'll show you next time we come on. But Friday we will be live again. We will be doing a review off that movie we saw yesterday. That was really good.
Yes, I think, but this fits right into what we're saying.
Yes.
The moral of the story is make sure that when you join the organization that you learn everything that you can learn about it before joining. Right. And that's not to knock any organization. That's something that I've learned, and this is something I've learned from watching the movie. Okay, because from the movie I actually joined the mission.
Right.
But I did. So because I wanted to see what was the big thing that was going on. And I like the political aspect of the Nation of Islam. That's why I joined. And also I think that you have to watch people around you and watch people that say that they're your friends, because not everybody's your friend. And then also, and this was like with his physical life. I mean, his beginning, his humble beginnings to the end of his life, I would say. So I can't just say one or the other. And also definitely try your best to build stronger family bonds also, because there can be certain disconnects in your family and you cannot afford that, because generations and generations of people can be lost, and you don't want to ever have anybody to take anything away from you. You both did a wonderful job tonight. Thank you for your great energy. Please, Nature Boy is a new Messiah.
What do you say?
Brother Mustafa, you silly.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate that. Your support. That's very kind.
But yeah, it's a lot. It's just a lot of things that we can definitely learn in this movie, and it's definitely sad, tragic, that we lost one of our elders in our community, and we all have to start being leaders. So if they, kill one, then we would have many more that follow. And I think that's a lot of times what happens also.
That's right. That's
right.
Well,
Sis Angel, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything else to say?
Thank you, for letting me come on your channel. And I really, me and you, we really connect real well when we're sharing.
We're talking about other stuff.
Yeah. That's what people like, because sometimes people are working right now, and you get a few people coming in, but then they watch it back and they get a chance to drive and listen to what we're talking about, and also do their homework and find out some good books to read. I think we really should get that book and do some readings on that in the book from the family.
There's a lot of great books out there about him. I mean, his daughter wrote some books. Like I said, to me, that's one of my favorite ones now. It is more out that I have in my library. But if you're talking about, I would have to go through all of my books. But in my mind, this book is the first book that popped into my mind. Okay. All right. But it's others out there. It's some great documentaries out there. It's one documentary on Netflix by a brother that's in Newark or New Jersey, wherever. You definitely, I would definitely tell people to watch the documentary and definitely follow that evidence. It's just so important for her story to really get out there and for us to really understand about our leaders and becoming the leaders ourselves.
And I think he's a good man of character
Mhm.
that cared about his family, cared about God, and cared about his people. And I think that's what it's all about. And you know, sometimes when you stand for something that is truth, it comes with a lot of backlash, and even your life. And I think that we have to respect all these, you know, Malcolm X, you know, Garvey, and also Martin Luther King, that because of where they've been and what they did, opened up a lot of doors for us, you know, to continue having rights. And we still fight for them today. We see the new generation out here with the peaceful protests. And I think that we have to support that in the right content, you know, for peace and doing things the right way, not going to keep our people enslaved, what they call jail now. But it's just another form of slavery, getting you back in there and, you know, not having any rights at all. And
Yeah.
sometimes put your life in there.
Even though some of you protesters are getting a salary, but I mean, I guess, you know, if you are losing, you know, benefits from your job and you're unable to pay your bills and things like that, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
All
right.
All right.
I have a movie coming up at 6:00. It's called The Family Divided. I haven't seen that movie yet, but it'll be played at 6:00. If you guys can make it, please come to the movie.
Please go over to the channel and definitely watch the movie. I'm gonna start over there and be in the chat for a spell, because I know I got to do a couple of healings and things like that.
Yeah, you can watch it back too. You can always watch it back too. But I'm gonna sit down and get me some popcorn. I'm gonna watch the movie. I haven't watched it, but I hear it's supposed to be pretty good. And then Friday, me and
sounds like it familiar.
Yeah. What was that?
House Divided sounds very familiar.
Yeah, with Jennifer Beals.
Okay, we'll see.
I haven't seen it, and I was gonna play it before, but then I said I didn't. Sometimes we put up a movie. Sometimes people like to watch movies, so I'll put that up. But all right, sister, thank you so much. We'll be back again Friday on my channel. We'll be talking about that movie we saw last night.
I know the name. I don't remember the name, but you know.
Yeah, the name was what was it called back? The Enchanted. Oh well, we'll know. I'll put it up tomorrow.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, but that's going to be a good discussion.
We're gonna have to have notes, sis. We're gonna have to break it down.
That movie was something else.
Yeah,
that demon. That was a demon as a pastor.
I know. Everybody was like, David in the chat.
Remember when he poked that woman's breast?
Yeah, and that was like the pastor's side, like the head dude's wife, wasn't it?
And the way he busted out that family, what's your excuse? You sitting over here with this.
Man, I would have had that child. He wouldn't have told me nothing. But
I have a beautiful daughters you're not taking care of, and you bring this strain. He called that woman a strain.
Yeah, he did.
But that was his sermon, you know, putting down people and doing the same thing.
Right, he's doing worse. He had all his children. He was doing team too much. I'd have whooped him down. I would have beat him up in his own church. I'm trying to tell you. But we'll talk about that movie. He made me hate his character, boy. That's how you know it was good. He did a good job. He did an excellent job. Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Washington did a great job of being a jerk. I enjoyed the movie though. And I like old boy from Friday. What is his name? He's always playing, and he's usually the jerk. He's usually always playing the jerk. And he was like, what was his name? What is his name? He played in so many movies. He played in Next Friday. He was Pinky in Next Friday.
Yeah.
He played in so many movies. He's a great actor too. I like him though. I really enjoy him. He makes me laugh every time I see him. He always got him playing something crazy.
That is so funny. Yeah,
but anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. And y'all notice a little This is the E in YouTube. Y'all know. This is being about being part of the weirdo clan and joining the group and just being weird. And y'all can come over here and be just as weird as I am, and enjoy yourself and have fun and express yourself,
I always enjoy coming in. I feel comfortable. We just talking and enjoying and just teaching on what we saw. And I think people really enjoy getting to know about these movies or even remembering the movie themselves. So go back and check out Malcolm X. That's a good movie.
Yeah, go and check. Definitely check that out. I just could. It was really hard. Like I said, it was definitely difficult for me to talk about it at the end because it's kind of like you watching a great leader be assassinated, and you really want to say Malcolm don't go there. Each time I'm acting as if I'm just seeing the movie for the very first time. I know the history, I know what's gonna happen, and I just sat there and just watch him, and it's just like you'd be like, no, when the lady was like, you just go and doing what you doing. When she's outside the church, she's like, you just keep doing what you're doing outside the ballroom.
Right.
And I was like, don't go, Malcolm, don't go. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you gonna get killed. Don't go. You know what I mean? But it's history, it's a part of our story. And so it's like something that is unfortunate, a tragedy that happened within our development from babies, from elders, from more future generations will know about this man. So
that's right. All right,
y'all. I'm getting ready to log off. All right, for real this time.
Bye,